team's turret has been destroyed. Blue team double kill.
And we are live for Blue Water League's Gold League 1 for the first time. Well, you know, sometimes English is a little bit difficult. I'm Isaac. Alongside me is random minion cast of RMC. I mean, legend of the in a amateur casting scene. So, in all honesty, I am honored to be casting alongside you today, Mr. RMC.
Wow, that's really formal, Isaac. I mean,
yeah. I even brought my own caster minion.
Hey!
We got a random caster minion too here, so I've come prepared for tonight's matchup between Literal Monkeys and Going Ghosts RMC to kick off this season here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm glad to be back for one, Isaac. And you know what? I'm going to be honest here. It's week 1, and it's kind of new teams. I've been away for a little bit here. I do recognize the Literal Monkeys organization. They've been around a while, and I think last time I was casting Blue Water Season 6 was when Literal Monkeys actually won the entire thing. So, you know, it's a very different roster coming back in, but should be just as exciting. And Going Ghost, now this is another interesting team. I was told, you know, that the core of this team had played last split under business time, and actually before that, I think quite a few of them played on Singed Crab Shack. Very interesting names coming through here, and you know they're kind of coming back as well. So quite a few familiar faces coming back in, but a couple of new ones perhaps we're less familiar with. So definitely looking forward to the game tonight. You know, our first look at Season 8 Gold Division.
Yeah, and running from top to bottom on the side of Little Monkeys, you're saying it was definitely a very different look. Top lane, this Noodle Jungle, Jesus Juice, Berry Donut in the mid lane, Verja, and Pink Penguin Land rounds out the support role. Meanwhile, on the side of Going Ghost, we have Vino in the top lane, Mini in jungle, Kilgar is our mid laner, Naruto Snack, what a name, in the ADC role alongside Shermis in as the support. So, and there we have our rosters. We're just waiting for a few seconds here for the BOL draft links to just be confirmed and up and running before we can do that away. As it actually appears we should be getting them very, very soon.
And while we're waiting for the draft links to come up here, Isaac, we mentioned a couple of familiar faces, and those of you who played in the Gold Division last split here, let's start with the Little Monkeys. You might recognize quite a few of the names from the Little Monkeys Fire team, because they had the two teams, I believe it was Fire and Water here, and this is sort of the core of the Fire team coming back, with Jesus Juice in the jungle, Berry Donut as their mid laner, and then Pink Penguin as support. And from what I had heard, their top and AD carry, one of them ranked out during the regular season because they had been performing incredibly well and had actually climbed the ladder. So they've had to find new faces, this Noodle and Verja coming in. So those are the big sort of question marks for this roster. Verja, especially big shoes to fill in the AD carry position in a meta where we're getting a lot of sort of hyper carries coming through. Sivir really, really strong, though she did get nerfed yet again recently on the patch. Zeri still very strong as well. You've got Jinx and Ophelio still hovering just outside of meta in terms of hyper carries. And for Going Ghost, similar situation. They too have two changes. Again, in the top lane with Vino coming back in, and Vino did play with Singed's Crab Shack, specifically with Kilgar, the captain, in that top lane before back in Season 6. And in the support role, Sirmus coming in. She's a little bit newer as well, just got picked up in the summer. But Going Ghost has actually played together in a league already. So this roster, while new to Blue Otter, won't be completely new to each other. And so they're coming in here with a little bit, I think, of more experience than what the Little Monkeys roster is bringing to the table.
Yeah, and especially early on in organized environments, the extra familiarity can definitely be a slight edge that you have as a team. And in these early weeks, just being able to take advantage of perhaps that little bit of interconnectedness. Because I know I've been on actually not necessarily League of Legends teams, but I've played soccer, and sometimes when you have that ability to know what your team is doing before they do it without anybody having to say it is such an advantage that sometimes can't quite be measured. As we actually have started the draft now, it's underway, and straight away you were talking about those hypercarry ADCs. Zeri immediately taken away on the side of Going Ghosts, and a bit understandable with how much we've seen Zeri pop off, kind of whenever she just finds one fight and there it is, Yeah,
and Verja's most played carry as well here. They're paying respects to that role. That can really pop off. And it's worth noting, of course, Little Monkeys on the blue side for game one here, Going Ghost on the red side. And we're seeing a lot of target bans, it feels like, coming through from Little Monkeys. Nami, not something that's terribly meta currently here, with Lucian Nami having been nerfed in the past. Jhin as well, not something we usually consider as a hyper carry, though it does have its place against squishier picks. And the J4, that's against Mini here. It's not Mini's most played champion, that being the Lee Sin, but I think the J4 just has more effect here, whereas the Zeri Wukong, I think, are more standard meta bans. The Blitzcrank maybe a little bit more targeted, and Little Monkeys with the instant Seraphine lock here, Isaac. That is a champion that can be flexed to many, many roles currently.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a fairly common first pick on blue side, because it gives you that flexibility to really go wherever you want with the draft and respond to what red team does have, which will in fact be Sivir as their first pick. So probably I would assume a lot of bot lane focus, because Seraphine typically a support, though sometimes you'll see her move into the mid lane. But I at least recently I've typically seen her played as either support or sometimes the farmer alongside another enchanter, but definitely still more towards that bottom side.
Yeah, I think the sort of AP carry role in the bot lane is her best role currently, because Seraphine does actually scale up pretty well with items. So gold income for her, very, very useful. She can hold a lane 1v2 as well, which allows your support to roam quite well, whether they be an enchanter or a more engage-oriented support. Now, for Go and Ghost. We touched on the Sivir being a hyper carry, and they've paired it with a Poppy, so already a really strong front line to deny any access to the Sivir while she's getting those bouncing blades, going through the entire front and back line of Literal Monkey. And
Yeah.
Thresh being picked up is interesting because Thresh has sort of gone out of favor, not so much because he was weak, just other supports felt stronger for the most part, especially enchanters with hyper carries here. But picking that Thresh does give a lot of safety, whether it be the Seraphine or maybe something more immobile, traditional, something like an Aphelios, for example.
Yeah, Thresh Aphelios definitely a bottom lane combination that was a lot more popular earlier on this season. English is a difficult language sometimes, but I know Poppy's a bit of a like mainly a meta pick, especially towards that jungle role. But I'm not exactly too sure if I like it being taken this early, completely blind, into the enemy team, because a lot of her utility does come from the ability to stop dashes, and if the only thing that the enemy team is showing is Seraphine, and they could just say, well, let's just not draft any dashes, and instead, so along the lines of like a Volbear or Olaf, and say, well, we don't need dashes to well, unless if you can, I mean, by technical terms, the whole dash mechanic, but more so a dash is a I run super fast at you sort of thing. But
Yeah.
Either way, we move into the second round, and you were talking about on the singed. What's a possessive with singed? I don't know. Either way, his Crab Shack. We have a semi-respect band there towards, I'm assuming, the top lane, as Morgana was picked by Going Ghost.
Yeah, it's got to be tough, right?
Yeah, surely.
I mean, Morgana's probably support here. I mean, I've seen some jungle Morgana recently, but it's not a good pickup. It's highly conditional. So I didn't actually realize that Vino was much of a Singed player. So maybe Literal Monkeys knows a little bit more than I do. They perhaps recall the actual Season 6 games, and maybe Vino did play it for then. But for now, it is going to be the Azir pickup. And for Going Ghost, this is interesting because they're saving counter pick for this top lane for Vino here. And we touched on the fact that, hey, Vino is kind of new to this specific roster here. They're putting some hopes on him to carry. And when I look at this composition so far with that Poppy here in the jungle, you don't need another tank. So I'd be more than happy to see a carry, like Jax, maybe an Urgot to come through Kennen. I know those aren't exactly what you think of when you think top lanes, but I'm trying to guess what we're going to see specifically out of Vino's pool here.
Well, it'd be a little bit difficult for them to take Jax as it was banned away B5, but I do understand your point. Yep. It happens, and Graves actually from Literal Monkeys giving a little bit more extra flexibility as well, with the ability to kind of swap Trundle and Graves around, considering like I would doubt Going Ghost goes with something like Ornn, but in the event that they do, there's definitely that ability to move it towards the top side as Malphite. I am a big fan of Malphite because just simply because I'm not good at the game, and you press R, and Unstoppable Force is it's a fun ability to use. The sound design on the landing is incredible. But either way, for quite what we expected, unless if it's a bit of a AP assassin Malphite sort of deal going on there, which I'd be surprised to see, but you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we saw AP Malphite, Magic Malphite, Mage Malphite, if you want to call him that, over in the Proving Grounds, just, I believe it was like a week or two ago at the very peaks of amateurs. So it's not completely out the realm of possibility. And honestly, I'd actually like to see that tank Malphite in the, the Mage Malphite in the top lane here, because that Graves Trundle that you mentioned, Isaac, you can definitely swap that around. And I think Trundle most likely going to go into the top lane now, because Jungle Trundle actually struggles to punish Poppy a little bit. Poppy's Keeper's Verdict nullifies a lot of that subjugate here. Sure, you can steal her stats, but you're not going to get to use it in the fight. You're just going to get yeeted right out of there immediately, and then good luck with that. Whereas in lane, especially into a Malphite, that stat you can steal, and then you just kind of smack down on that piece of rock here. Yeah, rock's hard, but it will break apart if you hit it enough times here. So the lane matchup would much more favor a top lane Trundle. And when I look at Literal Monkey's composition, it's actually kind of interesting, because it's not like your usual cohesive like team fight composition here. That's much more what Going Ghost is looking for. Instead, when I look at Literal Monkeys, I'm not quite sure what they're looking for. You've got a good matchup, with that Trundle in that 1v1. Talia into Azir isn't bad. That's a very skill-oriented matchup, and if Talia gets ahead, I think she can definitely go and start affecting the side lanes. But Seraphine Thresh as a bot lane isn't a bot lane that would spring to mind for me. You don't quite get the strong lane control, and unless you're looking for maybe Thresh to roam out a lot, that's one thing, especially into a Sivir Morgana. That's going to be a really rough lane to play. Thresh is really going to struggle to get those engages against the Black Shield. And the secondary spell shield as well does mean that Seraphine's poke isn't going to be quite as effective.
Yeah, that definitely was my initial thoughts as well, because I don't know how familiar you are with Talia bot lane with an engage support, as we sort of go. We just ignore minions and just all in 24/7. But into something like Sivir and Morgana without the ability to guarantee that CC definitely doesn't exactly seem optimal given this specific situation. At least this time around, and actually in the client draft, we can confirm that is actually Talia mid, Trundle top, and Graves jungle. So our initial thoughts were mostly correct, yeah.
Yeah, as expected. I like that sort of lane assignments, because I do feel like for the side of Little Monkeys, you do need to get those early advantages, or else you're going to run into that team fighting monstrosity that Going Ghosts have drafted for themselves here. I'm actually really scared when I look at this composition. We touched on the fact that Poppy Sivir already was the backbone of a very strong front-to-back composition. It's so difficult to get past Poppy. Like you mentioned, Steadfast Presence stops a lot of dashes coming through. Keeper's Verdict can just eat people out if they somehow get past the Steadfast Presence here. Then we throw on the Morgana for shielding. Furthermore, on the Sivir, on this Azir as well, if you go Conqueror on him and build the Nash's Tooth build, is an incredible team fighter. You can go with, the Comet build and go more poke-oriented or First Strike with, again, more poke-oriented Ludens or Liandries, and he'll be very effective. So, team fight-wise, Going Ghosts have all the tools they need. They've got the Disengage, they've got Frontline, they've got Engage with that Malphite that you like so much. I think a very holistic composition. They just need to make sure they don't fall apart in the early game. And frankly, from what I've heard of these teams, Going Ghost did play against, or Going Ghost, previously known as Business Time, in Season 7, did play against Little Monkeys Fire. So 60% of both teams have faced off before, and it ended up as a 1-2 in favor of Little Monkeys Fire. That said, apparently those games were not very one-sided. The laning was actually pretty even. So if laning goes even here, Isaac, I think I'm favoring the composition that Going Ghosts have drafted.
Yeah, it definitely has a more, I don't want to necessarily say cohesive goal, but definitely a more simple ease of execution, except for maybe Azir, simply because I've tried piloting Azir a few times. It never goes well. But that's mostly as you're saying during lane sort of thing. And since we are in the gold division this time around, perhaps not the highest echelon of mechanical skill. And that's the only slight concern I have from the Azir pick. I'm not quite sure how familiar Kilgar is with the champion, but other than that, there's definitely a very straightforward process of how you'd see team fights happening on the side of Going Ghosts, which would not quite as much there on the side of Little Monkeys.
Yeah, Little Monkeys, a lot of individual outplay. I mean, it's not like they can't win either. I mean,
oh yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah, they have good combinations going. I think Seraphine is one of the strongest front-to-back fighters in the game, pretty much. The Encore being able to run through every single member, even your own teammates, right? It extends the range as well. Can definitely put a massive halt to whatever Going Ghost is looking for here. And to me, a lot of attention for this composition specifically is going to be on Buried Donut in the mid lane with that Talia. Can you roam and affect the side lanes? And I'm looking at Jesus Juice as well, to pair alongside this Talia, because Graves, early game, is going to be able to do a lot of work. And when I look at Going Ghost, you don't have anything that can match the Graves early. Yeah, Poppy is quite scary, actually. Early game, she's got a lot of base damage and pretty decent ganks. We often see her run either, Electrocute, Dark Harvest, or Phase Rush. All three pretty strong early, but you're not going to match something like what a Graves can put out in their lane ganks here. So I think for Little Monkey, game plan is get that jungle rolling, get him down into the mid lane, get him down to the bot lane, ASAP here. And then level 6, you can look for that top side with Trundle, Subjugate here. If you can get the Grave snowballing fast enough, then maybe you can blindside Going Ghost and take them out before they hit their scaling point in the mid game.
Well, with that in mind, I do believe, yeah, we have hit the spectator delay, and we just for game one, who do you have it going down? Just on what we see, RMC. I have a feeling we know the answer, but just as for the record, we got.
Take your guess, Isaac. I mean, it's
Dude, I think it's literal monkeys. Actually, you know, What I will say is if Going Ghost doesn't have one team member that goes ghost, what can I say? But otherwise, yeah, no, definitely Going Ghost is the one that we have both. Definitely one that we both favor. But until then, we're going to send it to a break, and when we come back, we will have loaded onto the Rift for Game 1 between Little Monkeys and Golden Ghosts here in the Blue Otter League Gold Division. Our first week here, and well, we'll see you then. And we have loaded in for Game 1 between Literal Monkeys and Going Ghosts. I am Isaac. Alongside me is the one and only random minion caster. And after that short break, I don't see anybody taking Ghost on the side of Going Ghost. This is most unfortunate. But I mean, no. Either way, I mean, I guess if we're talking about similarities, we do actually have maybe potentially a sort of level 1 shenanigans, but as you were mentioning that phase rush for Poppy on for Mini as well, it is the option there. So just as a confirmation sort of thing. But yeah, no Ghost for Going Ghost.
Yeah, instead it's Literal Monkeys actually Going Ghost on this noodle.
Yeah.
Jesus Juice. Don't know what that says here.
Yeah, it's a little bit backwards in terms of naming schemes here, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's more of a just personal hope of mine. That's just like it's the copium saying, Going Ghost, they're going to take Ghost, guys, come on. But no, I do definitely understand the sort of idea that the side of Going Ghost wouldn't go Ghost because, well, one phase rush is selected by Mini and Sivir ultimate is a thing.
Yeah, and that's why I'm a little bit concerned about these ghosts, actually, that we are seeing picked up by the side of the Royal Monkeys here. You know, Jesus Juice picking that up, trying to get into the back line here. I'm not confident that you're really going to be able to stick to the carries. I think it's great for repositioning around the front line, around the Malphite and the Poppy, but not so much in terms of actually trying to catch us here and Silver here. And as for the Trundle, Noodle picking Ghost in the top lane. I actually think Ghost is fine instead of Flash. But if you're running Ghost and Flash here, that means no TP, no teleport into this lane. And if we start seeing some ganks go up into that top lane, especially when Vino hits level 6 there and there's kill threat, especially if he builds a little bit of AP here for that burst, then this Noodle might struggle and start to really suffer.
Speaking of this Noodle, he does hit level 2 first, taking a really decent trade. Might try to find the all-in here, and surely, yes! First blood going over to this Noodle, having to burn any of his summoner spells at all. So early on, really great stuff from the side of the Literal Monkey's top laner, getting himself a nice early advantage. And well, that teleport you were saying, he doesn't have. This Noodle does not have it. So at least, at the very least, Vino will be able to use that to get back to the lane fairly quickly and not miss out too much. But still, the 400 gold going to the advantage of Literal Monkeys.
Yeah, that, you know what? Yeah, you don't need TP. If you're able to just whack down like that. Thin Noodle hardly took damage as well on that particular trade, and that's really rough for Vino. The way he just walked up as well, I think Vino wasn't expecting that. We often think of trying to, level 6 subjugate. But yeah, you can't just stand there against Lethal Tempo and just let him stack that here as the Malphite. You're running press the attack, you just go in, get your 3 autos off, or 3 skills off, and then just kind of back off here. There's no need to extend. And for now, Vino will be on the back foot. Bot side, we are seeing again heavy trading as well. And Verja here doing a great job landing that poke so far.
Yeah, talk about the poke, and actually all the while towards the jungle there, that's going to have to be Mini flashing away from a seismic shove there and making sure that nothing else happens. That being said, Penguin going to be snared up. Play gets Naruto snack over the wall, so that will be the enemy ADC having to flash away despite 2 spell shields getting used there. Really just amazing heads up play, and champion just knowledge from the side of Penguin.
Jesus, just sticking around.
Yeah, I don't believe we're over just yet. Penguin draw that distance, and I believe they may have stepped a little bit too far. That being said, Verja will get the kill on Sermis to start out this fight, and the extra advantage of this Talia here in the bot lane just might be enough to see it only be a 1-for-1.
Both these teams, I mean, they might be literal monkeys, but they're going full 8 mode right now, and you love to see it. I mean, literal monkeys, they just invade right away. We touched on how strong Graves can be early on, and Jesus Juice is feeling himself, going like, okay, we got this. And I love that Verja is actually making a lot of difference early with the Seraphine already. The sustain actually kept literal monkeys in there longer than they probably should have been. It ended up baiting Jesus Juice a little bit here, but you know what? I guess it's okay. We're not seeing Mini be able to take advantage of that downtime from the Graves death anyway. So yeah, I think Literal Monkeys will be happy with that, just messing up the tempo, the control for Go and Ghost stuff.
Yeah, I mean, as you're saying with those, messing up the little bit of tempo there, Mini, or at least the side of Going Ghost as a team, their health bars were, I mean, it was a 1-for-1, but if you're talking about the health difference, they, Literal Monkeys, not Literal Monkeys, Going Ghosts, barely made it out of there alive in that 1-for-1. So all those heals having to go through, giving Jesus Juice a little bit extra time to respawn, and since we're still fairly early on in the game, that extra time won't be felt too much, as opposed to if we were on 10 minutes in, or 10 minutes later.
Well, for now, though, we did see Little Monkeys. I love their map rotations here. They're sending Pink Penguin. They sent Jesus Juice to look in the mid lane, and Kilgar, Spider Sense is tingling a little bit, decided, hey, let's not stick around here. Let's play defensively. There's no reason to play offensively here. He's got the better poke with that Comet onto the Talia here. So, well played from him. And we're still not seeing Pink Penguin go back down to the bot lane. We know Seraphine's really good at holding 1v2. Especially now that you picked up the Lost Chapter, you actually have the mana sustain here. And that's making it really scary. Surely the pings must be coming down right now. Going Ghost is probably saying, hey, this Thresh has been missing for the last minute. Like, watch out in your lanes.
Yeah, speaking of, it's gone straight towards the mid lane. Kilgar just going to hop out there. Death Sentence going fairly wide. I do, as you're right as you were saying, just I mean, perfectly, a demonstration of what Pink Penguin's trying to do is he stays away from this bottom lane. However, that does give the push towards this bottom lane. Mini, Sermis, and Nard is not coming through, and the Keeper's Verdict will surely prevent Jesus Juice from hopping away. Will it be enough damage? Yes, it is. Sermus will be picking up that first kill, and I believe that will be all it is in the mid lane. So 1 kill in taken up by Going Ghost. Here's Version now. I don't believe they should try to take this one. All those health bars are full. There's only 2 of them, but they're not quite backing off just yet. So it's a slightly scary moment. I mean, I'd be surprised if they try to contest this straight, but they don't seem to be backing away just yet, or at least Pink Penguin is.
Yeah, Pink Penguin just kind of threatening here, and with the Thresh, there's always the risk of Lantern just dragging the jungler in. The Dragon actually resets a little bit there, doesn't lose too much more health, and yeah, Jesus just kind of saying, okay, we're gonna leave this. Pink Penguin, take your shot here. He gets it!
The early smite! It had 14! The Drake had 14 health! Oh my goodness me! Mini! It is that is a blunder from the side. Going Ghost. I don't know how much a singular Cloud Drake will manage, at least in terms of stats, but that was, I mean, felt for sure that Going Ghost were going to claim that first strike, but the death sentence does in fact have an app name, and actually, hold on, this Noodle taking quite a few tower shots in the top lane onto a low health Vino, and that bush is marked by a pink ward, so Vino should have vision. So neither will have their ultimates for now, so, but perhaps something to look towards, as these health bars are they're scarily low. They're scarily low for the RNC.
Yeah, and the burst that a press the attack Malphite can actually put out is a little bit risky for
like
the
this,
minion
perhaps
damage.
Vino going to pick up that solo kill. The respect not quite coming through, or at least the respect for the damage not quite coming through. However, Sermus will be marked by that hook from Thresh. That being said, Mini is also here in support. Lantern not going to be taken by Berry Donut, though I do understand why. It's definitely very sort of quick situation. Not quite sure if Mini had the ability to stop that Lantern from coming through as well, and I believe it does ground afterwards, so get knocked by that, won't be able to flash away. I do respect the decision, as weird as it may have looked.
Yeah, it's fine for now. I mean, Berry Donut will just have to play a little bit more carefully for the next 5 minutes, but a lot of things happening there. First of all, let's go back to that Dragon steal away by Pink Penguin there, because I think that's the most shocking thing. 14 health on that Dragon. And for Mini, like, come on, like, there was no real threat on the Dragon, so that's really just about communication, and the fact that Pink Penguin managed to steal it away, that's absolutely going to be shocking. And think of the effect on the mental too now. Mini's probably a little bit shaken. The bot lane, of Naruto, Snack, and Sermus are probably not terribly happy. And then we saw the top side fight as well right now. This Noodle does have to be aware that, hey, I do win out the longer trades, but when you're low on health, Malphite Burst is nothing to scoff at here, so you have to be very, very careful about that. Now, that said, I don't think that one death is going to change the thing too much. I think this Noodle should still be fine up in this top lane, especially if Jesus Juice decides to drop by. And I would love to see that happen, because when you subjugate, it makes this Malphite so much more vulnerable to these ganks. And Vino is going to be stacking a ton of armor. The earlier you gank him, the less armor he has.
Yeah, and not to mention that extra gold coming through with the Rift Herald, that if it is chosen to go towards the top lane. However, if we take a look at the mini map, hold on, this Noodle, he's getting a bit antsy there with that last trade of abilities in that top lane. Don't know how advantageous that was necessarily, but I wanted to take a look at Jesus Juice, is that he's at least currently towards that bot side now. So even though we were hoping maybe towards that top lane, obviously those camps still going to be towards that bottom side available, as that's where he cleared last time. But maybe might be a little bit delayed, at least from what we expected.
Yeah, I think part of it, Jesus Juice is a little bit on the back foot after some of the first couple of ganks didn't necessarily go his way, right? O2 and O. Just wants to power farm a little bit more. But I think when you've got that Umbral Glaive, that's actually a really good time to gank here. You can clear the vision even if you can't necessarily get the ganks off. And Verja going to take quite a bit of poke, unfortunately, on the back end. Great binding from Sermus here. But if anything, this could actually be bait, because I don't know if there's quite enough burst damage unless Sermus is going to throw everything in the kitchen sink. Not level 6 yet, and Pink Penguin can't find it this instance.
Not quite. And also, you're also pushing through two different spell shields on the side of Going Ghost's bot lane as well. So not exactly the easiest to engage on, especially on the tower end. Even like Mini kind of hanging around just there, knowing that Jesus Juice will join, however. Okay. Unstoppable Force will be used by Vino to get away without a flash.
Good shove.
Yeah, the seismic shove will land, and I believe that should be enough to secure this kill. Yep, Very Donut going to claim that one in the top lane. So all the while, that attention being showed towards bot lane for both junglers, we actually have to take a really quick view to the top lane to see, well, that kill going over to the side of Little Monkeys.
Yeah, nice clean, and you burn the Malphite ultimate there. It's also most efficient that Berry Donut's actually doing the top lane gank, because we saw, unfortunately, the early Warden's Mail is already messing up this Noodle's ability to trade. And sure, Vino doesn't have kill threat either, but if you send Jesus Juice up there, it's going to take a while. It's so much faster to
will land. Persia,
there's no kill threat here. Yeah. Oh, now there might be.
Well, now there might be with Pink Penguin walking up and minions round flashes forward. You're saying no kill threat, right? As you say that, Persia goes down and so will Pink Penguin. Very Donut is here in response, but I'm not quite sure how much damage he will be able to do it. Oh, over from Kilgar. The Emperor's Divide really going to mess up the sort of flow of the side of Literal Monkeys, and it's an absolutely incredible play from Going Ghosts.
Yeah, I'm starting to think the Going Ghost doesn't refer to Summoner spell and more to, the ghosts of their enemies after they're done with them.
True.
Really clean play.
I like you know what, the thought process there, I respect it. But yeah, no, definitely really clean stuff from the side of Going Ghosts. To just quickly recognize that Pink Penguin, with the Diminy Jungler here, which obviously wasn't aware of, that they easily win that fight just outright with the numbers advantage. Just the, I guess confidence, or the, the confidence to just go straight in, flash over and say, we win this, and to not hesitate at all. Definitely showed very early on there. And as you're saying, I believe you're saying Going Ghosts a bit unfamiliar with each other, so perhaps it's a little surprising, or at least in that sense, sort of. I'm actually, sometimes talking with my hands on a cast isn't necessarily the best idea. But no, definitely something good to see very early on in this.
Herald being dropped in the top side here. Mini actually maybe stepped up a little bit too far.
May have that Icy Pillar will prevent Mini from getting away without having that flash from earlier, which secured that kill, will be resulting in his own death being secured by the side of Literal Monkeys, and I believe Shelly will be able to.
Yeah, Vino can't really do much to stop that second charge the moment Mini unfortunately went down, so well played by Literal Monkeys. They're managing to pull the lead back in their favor for a second there. Teams pretty much went even in gold, and I'm not sure if they got the plates actually from that first turret going down there, because it was just Jesus Juice.
Actually, no. Did Vino? I don't know if Vino saw that or not. Pink Penguin's going to have to stay up far away to get that lantern out, but this just might be a massive blunder from the side of Literal Monkeys. Very Donut here in response will be enough. Actually, perhaps it's going to be the side of Going Ghost overstaying their welcome. Shutdown going on to Berry Donut. So despite those really low health bars, it's not quite enough damage from the side of Going Ghost to secure what looked to be like a very, well, I guess disappointing sort of situation for them to be in, but really calm demeanor to wait that one out and know that their teammates are there and around to then turn that around in their favor is very impressive from Going Ghosts.
A little bit of a fumble there in terms of coordination. I think taken individually, the ideas were good. Vino going in with Surmas here. There's a lot of burst there, and they had Kilgar in the back pocket, but they couldn't quite find the targets. And then the keeper's verdict, I think, for Mini was looking to try and save Surmas, but it came a second too late. It actually gave Literal Monkeys a free disengage here. And if you are the side of Going Ghost, I think this is the time where you kind of take a step back and say, hey, maybe we don't, get too hypey on that top side. Our strong lanes are the Silver and Azir. Those are our carries.
Oh, and speaking of a fight here, Mini's going to not be able to be CC'd. That play doing nothing as a result. And they're just going to hop themselves away. Seismic Shove not going to get Mini or Cernis over the wall, though. I do like the idea from Very Donut. I do see what they were thinking to try to get them back as though that Blast Cone was used. However, this Noodle might just try to find all-in again. This top lane tier 1 isn't available for Vino to help, and without the Unstoppable Force or the Flash, that's going to be surely the kill confirmed there for this Noodle. Yet another solo kill for this Trundle. So even though Vino definitely has shown signs of being amazing, this 1v1 not going all that great for top laner of Golden Ghost.
No, and top lane is really about item breakpoints. We saw the Warden's Mill come in earlier, and then this Noodle couldn't do anything. Now we see the Blade of the Ruin King come in, and now it's going to work. Right up to the moment Vino actually completes his Mythic, the Blade of the Ruin King is really going to mess him up. And even after he completes the Mythic, it's going to be a little bit more balanced here. The CS differential and experience differential is massive as well, because this Noodle's up 2 levels right now. And I think that, more than the item disadvantage, is what's really wrecking Vino. And for Little Monkeys, they are starting to hit sort of the comfort point for them, the peak point where Berry Donut has Mythic, can roam around very, very effectively here. Jesus Juice, once he completes his Mythic as well, will be at the strongest pretty much. He'll be all game long relative to everyone else. This Noodle is starting to be able to split push, and Berja continues to be able to hold 1v2 lanes. So this is when Literal Monkeys get control of the map. And for Go and Ghost, you're kind of in a bit of a power trough right now. Yes, Kilgar picked up Ludens here, so you get a bit of poke to come through, but it's not going to match the Talia burst. And for Naruto Snack, you've got Kraken Slayer here. I'm thinking right now the Sivir needs a second item. Maybe you can win the fights if your front line is able to tank for long enough here. But until we get into a real team fight here, Isaac, I'm not going to be confident saying that Going Ghost can win.
Oh, Going Ghost Mini going to use that Hex Gate to guide his way over. As actually mentioned, it is in fact that Hex Tech map with the soul available. So getting over there, Keeper's Verdict going to knock 2 away, and with this break up, will they have enough burst to prevent any sort of contest? Or then Service will land the Dark Binding to keep them out for a bit longer, but this Drake isn't going down very fast. Very Donut going to cut off the team a little bit there. Encore going to land onto 2, but I don't believe that's enough. Berja will get that first kill onto Sermis. Kilgar now going to be taken down, so there clearly was not enough burst. That being said, Mini will be able to claim the Drake this time. Despite the more difficult circumstances on that contest, will go down as a result. So 3-4-0 in terms of kills, but at least as consolation, the Drake will go to the side of Going Ghosts.
Okay, so lesson learned here, Isaac. Start Dragon, lose Dragon, pretty much, right? I mean,
yeah.
Actually, you know what? No, not fair. Going Ghost did start the Dragon in really trying circumstances here. Now, I like that Little Monkeys are able to capitalize off of this. They lose the Dragon, sure. They just rotate to mid, and they're pushing in here. They actually might be able to get both of these turrets. Kilgar just came up here, and Sermis doesn't have enough wave clear. Okay, they barely do. Turret's half health, but still really good push from Little Monkeys, and this was the concern I was having about some of the
Service didn't have vision. Berry Donut going to do so much damage there, and that's going to be the solo kill onto the enemy support, who I believe had used
Mini,
that spell shield. That being said, Mini going to force a flash out of Team at the very least, but now will be in a little bit of trouble. Going to use that blast going to hop away, and probably going to end that sort of that fight there. But one kill, just one extra kill going over to the side of Little Monkeys on the back end of that exchange.
Yeah, I was sweating for Mini right there when he decided to face check. I had no confidence he's going to walk back out, especially after Sermis just went down herself in the exact same situation there. It's just such a risky play. And again, for Going Ghost at this point, you just don't really want to necessarily team fight here. You want to take things slow or look for picks, pretty much. And when I say look for picks, don't play towards Vino's lane. The Malphite isn't going to be the lane you're going to get a pick on when you're playing a Poppy and a Malphite together. Go for mid lane for Kilgar. Go bot lane for Naruto Snack. I mean, Naruto Snack is 3-0-3. He should be fairly strong here if it wasn't the fact that he was down CS significantly in the lane. And you can make up for that lack of CS by just getting him kills. So, if anything, I would love to see some attention from the bot side from Going Ghost before Literal Monkey starts paying attention to your bot side instead.
Yeah, and as you're saying, those extra kills, a bit of the strange thing. Serrated Dirk, I assume that's probably going to be going towards the Collector. I'm not entirely sure how common that is on Sivir. I don't believe I've seen that gone quite before. Maybe trying to opt out for, or maybe just trying to pick up the extra lethality for a little bit of just stopgap power, as the gold difference does sit at nearly 8,000 now. 7.5k to be specific. So, a bit of a strange one there. I don't know your take on that. I'd actually like to hear your take on that, because I'm not quite sure what to think of that myself, to be completely honest.
Yeah, I mean, usually right now, silver builds are the standard crit builds, where you go into sort of that zeal item, infinity edge sort of thing here. Lethality, I agree. I think it's like sort of a stopgap measure here. It's fast power in lane, and it's going to be quite effective against literal monkeys for the most part. They don't have a true tank. Yes, this noodle can steal armor from Vino, but everyone else is going to be very vulnerable to lethality. So I think you're picking up for a quick power spike, and then maybe you do actually go for the collector here if you're finding it effective enough. But until you get to see that team fight, like I don't know if Naruto Snack wants to fully convert to that sort of collector item here. They do find Pink Penguin.
But it just might be baiting themselves as Mini goes down very quickly at the start of that fight.
Wow.
Naruto Snack will just be chomped by this noodle, and this fight is very one-sided. Another kill claim for the side of Little Monkeys going on to Jesus Juice. They're getting that double kill, and it is just dominant from the side of Little Monkeys finding that fight there.
Yeah, and they can keep pushing. I mean,
Really
Kilgar,
can.
good wave clear, but is it going to be enough? And
I don't know. Vino will be
oh.
take that death sentence to
Oh
the
my
face.
goodness.
Will be enough. Persia going to claim that one. So yet another kill. 4 for 0 currently. It's going to be the inhibitor tower going down. And I think they're going to try to claim that inhibitor for themselves as well.
Yeah.
So Literal Monkey is going to have that push in the mid lane there off of a very ill-advised sort of engage from the side of Going Ghost, being so far behind in gold as they are, and with Baron up, they're actually going to head more towards the bot lane as the next Hex Sector does come up in 30 seconds. And with this noodle, maybe it's the misdirection. You know, I do quite like that from the side of Literal Monkeys, showing top side, but then instead moving to secure this Drake for essentially.
Yeah, and keep in mind, like, we can see the goal difference of over 10,000 before Baron even goes down. Players can't see that. So you're in game, you know you're strong, but if there's one place that teams can throw at really badly, it's the Baron buff. And we've seen so far steals from both junglers come through. So I respect that Literal Monkeys aren't going for the Baron here. If you're not confident in it, that's fine. Set up the vision, just make sure that Going Ghost can't steal it, then play it nice and slow. You can pick up those dragons, you can brute force the turrets. We already saw that mid inner turret, when Literal Monkeys went for it, it wasn't like Going Ghost actively looked for an engage. It's just that there's so many pick tools available with the death sentence, with that seismic shove here, that if you ever misstep from under that turret, you get nuked immediately, and then Literal Monkeys takes your turret. So if they want to just group up and brute force that bot side, send this noodle to split push in the top side, I think that's a very valid, safe way to close this game out.
Yeah, and with only the Baron now on the table for the next 5 minutes, there's not going to be as much pressure from the side of Literal Monkey in terms of knowledge, but still that goal difference going to be massive. Sitting over 10k now, 10,500, and it's only been getting bigger as we see this noodle. Not quite as many levels up, but as those levels do levels do take more XP to gather as you get higher in game mechanics there. He's still definitely feeling very good. Sitting on that 200k gold down as well. Doing very fine for himself here. Actually, hold on, Kilgar. Perhaps a little bit too far up himself, but very donut. Oh, actually is going to get away. It survives on hardly any health and taking out dragged out by the landed by Pink Penguin. And so in the one for nothing trade and around Bear, Bear Donut's still fairly low, but they could definitely start to pressure, so at least threaten to at least start this up. And actually, Zermus not quite going to get played there, so slow coming through. Not much else, but yeah, definitely that extra pressure around the potential Baron take going to throw Going Ghost out of their comfort zone and have to maybe try to find something just here as Mini stepping a bit forward now, and I believe that was Mini Smite being used there. I barely see, so yeah, we'll claim that little raptor, but at the same time, as you were saying, the potential of the Baron take now kind of gone as everybody's back on the map, but still for a few moments there.
Yeah, and while that was happening, this noodle did get that bot side outer turret, is continuing to just push up with this Trundle right now, and the CS discrepancy just continues to grow in this what was top lane now bot lane difference, and this Noodle is going to become a problem. We've already seen in a couple of these fights right now. The Trundle Subjugate just makes targets so incredibly squishy, even if it's not the Malphite, and Little Monkeys are able to just burst a single target down. And if Little Monkeys, get themselves set up a little bit better here, I do think the next pick we see might result in a Baron take. I would love to see them accelerate the pace of the game. I am getting a little bit concerned that if they stall out like that, Going Ghost will get to skill up. Oh, they find Service.
Oh, Sermus just
Wow.
I believe it was just the seismic shove and the hello. As the non-working brain, the ground rock thing, Talia. Why have I forgotten the name of Talia's abilities already? Either way,
I just call it the
still,
minefield. Good enough.
It is. You know what? That's a very apt nickname for that ability. I do like the minefield. Minnie's going to try to contest this though. Not going to be able to get it, and surely that's going to be Minnie going down there. Flash over the wall from Team Penguin to try to get kill onto Kilgar, and surely, yes, Verja going to pick that one up as well, and that just might be the game here.
Yeah, it really should be here. Naruto Stack not going to be able to wave clear all that effectively right now. Still sitting on that 2 items here. And it was indeed the Collector they kind of went for. Again, not completely sold on it. It doesn't seem to be hitting quite hard enough at this point in the game because of how far behind, in comparison to Little Monkeys, that Going Ghosts have found themselves. And now they're playing this more methodical. They take themselves a second inhibitor here. Oh, Service, that's just a bit of poke. That wasn't even the seismic shove.
Yeah, that definitely going to be doing a massive chunk out of Service without any sort of magic resist. That being said, we're going to decide to go, and now Mini is done, but is it enough? Keeper's Verdict going to put some CC2. Naruto Snack does pick up 1, picks up 2, shuts down as well, so that extra gold going to be going on to the ADC, but is it enough? Here comes this Noodle. Not quite going to find the kill there, but still numbers advantage over to the side of Literal Monkeys, and if they're able to, there's one Nexus Tower, there's another, and you have to feel surely that's going to be game 1 getting picked up by Literal Monkeys, so a nice last-ditch effort from Going Ghost. I do respect the attempt. It definitely looked like they might be able to find something there for a few seconds, but after the sheer number of minions and just available resources that were still remaining on the side of Literal Monkeys helped see them close out game 1.
Yeah, and I think Little Monkey's draft was perfectly fine. A lot of it just came down to laning and execution. And we already said, if Little Monkeys were to win this, they're going to find themselves a lead in the early game here. They're going to kind of snowball a little bit from there. And huge props to this Noodle, the Trundle. Played that perfectly. 4, 1, and 7. The damage, 13,000 as well. A lot of that's just from side laning, right? And just handling the Malphite 1v1. Buried Donut as well. The Talia picks that were coming through were absolutely nuts. And sure, I didn't see quite as many Weaver's Walls as I had liked to seen, but Buried Donut, found the critical picks. Most importantly, the one that actually got them Baron as well here. And yeah, it just works out. Props to Verja as well. The scoreline isn't as impressive for the Seraphine, but Verja played 1v2 in lane almost the entire game and still came up significantly ahead in CS here. And going into game 2, because this is a best of 3, Going Ghosts have some hard questions to answer here, because now you can't just draft for your composition. You need to pick champions that at least have some favorable matchups that you can leverage to make sure that you bridge into that mid to late game.
Well, we're going to have to see what that sort of adaptation from Going Ghosts is. But for now, we're going to send it to a break. But when we do get back, we will have game 2 between Literal Monkeys and Going Ghosts here in the Blue Otter League Gold Division for our first week. And don't go anywhere.
There we go.
Yeah. All right. And we are back for game 2 between the Literal Monkeys and Going Ghost. I'm Isaac. Alongside me is random minion caster RMC, and we do have a change of sides for game 2, just to confirm. Going Ghost opting into that blue side after last time around, and yeah, I mean, game 1, Literal Monkeys, we weren't exactly confident in their composition, but they definitely played to their strengths and really performed there. And so we'll have to see what sort of adaptations Going Ghost goes for game 2.
Oh, the joys of week 1 here, Isaac, where we
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
what on earth we're expecting from these teams here. They show up and, they completely prove us wrong. This noodle certainly isn't a wet noodle in that top lane. They're able to pump out the damage. And I'm a little bit worried for actually this blue side draft going Ghost here, simply because in game 1, the Trundle is a massive counter pick to the Malphite, and Literal Monkeys got it on the blue side. Now that they're on the red side, they can pretty much guarantee themselves a counter matchup in the top lane. And if this noodle can replicate that success here in game 2, it is going to be a massive problem for Going Ghost.
Yeah, and I believe it was actually a Malphite that was picked R5 by the side
Yes.
of Going Ghost. So definitely it was their own decision to take that matchup there, and obviously it didn't quite go to plan. At least not after that first gang toward the top side there. I remember around like 6-ish minutes. But yeah, overall, definitely not the greatest from Going Ghost, but we really don't see much change in terms of bans from both of these teams. So yeah, straightforward, really.
And my question here is then what is Going Ghost going to first pick? Because Little Monkeys first picked the Seraphine. So if you're taking blue side here, you want to deny something away from the side of Literal Monkeys. And are you going to pick that Seraphine yourself? I'm sure they're able to play it. I mean, I know that Sirmus has played it support before. I don't know if Kilgar has played it. Kilgar's had an interesting path, having played AD carry in Season 6 for Singed's Crab Shack, and then support for Business Time in Season 7. So if ever there's a mid laner to pick that one up, it would be Kilgar, but no, they're going with the Sivir first pick again, and I don't think you need to do that on the blue side necessarily here. Literal Monkeys has shown that they're willing to give that one up for that Seraphine priority.
And well, as you were saying, we've got Seraphine Thresh locked in, so
Yeah.
already looking very similar to game 1. And yeah, I'm not too sure if I mean, I was hoping to see some sort of adaptation from Going Ghost, but currently it's not quite looking like it here.
Yeah, and for Monkeys, like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Literal Monkeys just run it back, right? There's no need for them to adapt just yet here. Going Ghost, they went with Poppy Morgana last time for R2, R3. They've locked in the Morgana here at B2, and this is the change up. Here is where it changes with the Lee Sin instead of the Poppy being picked up. But honestly, if Little Monkeys play the Poppy themselves, they could just pick it up, and Poppy's an massive counter to this Lee Sin. I mean, Lee Sin, what it gives you instead of that Poppy is a little bit more early game agency, a little bit more early game pressure, and we'll have to see if Going Ghost and specifically Mini here is able to capitalize on that.
Well, you're saying the Poppy is a major counter, but instead Going Ghost opted into selecting Diego. So I mean, I in terms of entertainment value, I like it, but in terms of available champions, I'm not sure if I like it as much as picking Poppy there for Literal Monkeys.
Yeah, you know what? Jesus Juice is known to be a big carry for his team, has been in the past. So I guess we shouldn't be surprised that he is going to something that can pump out a little bit more damage here, have a bit more flashier plays to come through. And while you're not as strong on the ganks as the Lee Sin, your dueling ability isn't that bad, and you certainly do skill up, especially at that level 6. Now, the ladder bands coming through here, and for Literal Monkeys, they haven't changed it up once again, but Going Ghost, they're going to take away the Trundle this time, and that might signal that we'll start seeing yet another tank come through. well, this noodle has a lot of carry champions like Tryndamere, like Fiora here. You can play a set into a tank as well, so there are still plenty of options for the little monkeys, even if a tank gets picked up here.
Yeah, and well, this time around they won't have the counter pick as well for being on that blue side, and so unless if they're going with comfort here towards that top lane, as Talia getting picked up, so it will be that top lane counter pick for Vino. I'm not sure how big I am on this decision from going Ghost personally. Not quite sure myself.
Yeah, and now the question for me is, where's Kilgar going to go with this mid laner? You know you're running into Talia. This is not a flex Talia into the jungle, Viego into the mid lane. Yes, Viego mid exists. No, it is not a good pickup. So what are you going to answer into the Talia? You go with the Victor instead. So really strong team fighting. But my concern with the Victor pickup is kind of similar to what we had with the Azir, where if you get hit by a single seismic shove into the minefield, you're just going to get popped. And we saw how good Berry Donut there was with that Talia there. Landed more than half of those seismic shoves.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes onto multiple targets as well. So a little bit concerned about that. And in the top lane, Vino has to blind here. If you're going to blind, tanks are better blinded, I think, than counter picked. And he's actually going to take away the set himself here in that top side.
Yeah, I mean, not exactly one that I've seen blinded very often, but you're saying as in terms of counter to potential tank.
Yeah.
You know, I guess just taking it all out of the hands of this noodle essentially is, well, you're talking about carries towards that top side. Tryndamere, the option that Vito is going to say he wants to go with there, and I don't like it because I don't like Tryndamere as a champion because press R, don't die. But in terms of taking game 2, I really do from that.
Yeah, press R, don't die, and you've got Seraphine in your back pocket.
Oh yeah.
If you need more healing, you've got Thresh in your pocket. If you need a further disengage after your spins already buy you so much space. I'm going to be honest, I'm still not a huge fan of Little Monkey's compositions in terms of its cohesion, its identity here. It's still a very mixed bag to me. But considering what we saw in game 1 here, I understand completely why they picked it. These guys are so comfortable on these champions. You've got that Talia, you've got the Seraphine, and I think you're pretty much set up for the rest of this fight. And then you've got the Viego now for Jesus Juice to really get those resets. That burst damage from Talia going to be absolutely massive. And if this noodle can pop off in that top lane and Tryndamere into set, is a pretty nice lane for the Tryndamere. You'll struggle early into Set's ability to duel you, as well as his early regeneration being able to match Tryndamere, but later on, Set can't do much at all to a Tryndamere here. Tryndamere will just out-sustain you, out-damage you, out-push you here. So individual picks from Little Monkeys, again, very, very strong. And Go and Ghost, to me, it's a similar composition to what they ran in game 1 in terms of what they want to do. You've still got that Sivir Morgana, you've still got a front line in that Set, potential here. Your Lee Sin, good engage. You've got the Dragon's Rage to disengage and peel for your Sivir and your Victor as well. But same set of problems that you potentially face. The lanes don't exactly favor you here. And, I said Morgana counters Thresh. I'm going to stand by that. But as we learned from game 1, Thresh doesn't have to lane against Morgana. Seraphine can lane against both Sivir and Morgana, and Thresh is going to be ganking.
Yeah, it was more so a Bard cosplay there from the Thresh. Is what to describe it. And even in the similarities you're saying, and with Seraphine as well in that bottom lane, definitely we're just showing that he could show his own in that 1v2. So I as you said, it is definitely very similar to game 1 in terms of composition. And going off game 1, perhaps Little Monkeys, they realize that, hey, we just played X, Y, and Z wrong, and if we fix that up, we'll be fine. But until then, I'm not too sure if I like what they've gone for game 2.
Yeah, for Little Monkeys, there's not that much they need to fix after what they displayed there in game 1 there. So Go and Ghost, I'm looking at Mini to really step up. I think Lee Sin is a very interesting pickup. I'm not quite in the church of LS with like Sinner champions, but I do think that Lee Sin does require you to have early game impact. And considering how last game was a lot about the laning and the early game advantage that Little Monkeys built up, I think the Lee Sin is a good pick here. The only question is, can Mini really perform on it? And we mentioned it in Draft 1 when we saw sort of the J4 hover come through for Mini here, that his most played champion's actually this Lee Sin. So he's incredibly practiced, incredibly polished on it here. And now's the time to step up and deliver. You've got your comfort champion here. Your goal isn't to wait for the team fights and facilitate it, with that insect or peel with that dragon's rage. No. Your goal right now is the first 6 levels. Make sure your lanes are even or even better ahead, and then trust your lane to carry the game later on. You have a lot of scaling. Silver Victor, some of the best scalers in the game. If you can set them up right, either of them can take over a fight.
And I can't really expand on that. That's took the words right out of my mouth. But for game 2, I'm going to have to expect one change that I want to see would be that going ghost. They have somebody that actually takes ghost this time.
Nope, I'm trying to tell you, nobody on that team is going to run ghost well. Maybe the set, but
that was the difference in game 1 is they didn't take ghost and their team name is going ghost. How can you do that? No, but in all seriousness, it's definitely a very similar feel from both teams for game 1. And for now, we will sneak to a break, and when we come back, we will have game 2 of Little Monkeys and Going Ghost here in the Blue Otter League Gold Division. See you then. going to hazard a guess on timing-wise that we have loaded in? We might be a little bit early here. However, all the while, welcome back. Game two, actually. We got a similar, great minds think alike sort of situation here. Is level 1.
Oh, I love this, Isaac. The ships passing in the night scenario, where they both kind of pass each other by. The bigger question is always the wraparound, whether the teams actually crash back on the wraparound here. It looks like both teams. Oh, hold up, never mind.
No, not
Going
quite.
Ghost?
Yeah, going Ghost, walking straight into this. First blood going to be kicked up by Naruto's snack, and they're not done just yet. Vino flashing forward. They're trying to find any bit of extra CC. Jesus Juice now having to flash over. Flash, Dark Binding lands onto this Thresh, and Mini will claim that second kill. And Going Ghost actually are on the blue side now. So hold on, brain, flip the team names real fast. It's actually Going Ghost going to be claiming those 2 kills there this time around, and really good stuff from them this time. And hey. Early to mid game is where they mostly struggled last time out, and straight away we have at least the start of perhaps a change to that.
Yeah, exactly, and that was very much what they needed here to get themselves a good, solid early game. I love the kill distribution as well. It goes over to the Sivir and to the Lee Sin, sort of one being a late game carry, and the other, that Lee Sin that we talked about so much about how, he can impact the early game here. So I'm very, very glad to see that here. Now, we are unfortunately having some tech issues here. Going Ghost not only somehow ganked the little monkeys, they've ganked our producer as well. So hopefully that will be resolved quickly here. And are we good? I think we're good.
Not
quite.
We'll have to wait and see specifically on when that gets resolved. But for now, this will most likely. I'm assuming this is probably at least working. And at the end of the day, if you worked with computers, that's good enough for us. Sometimes the amount of spaghetti code. Well, I mean, we play League of Legends here. We know all about spaghetti code. And whoa, fast forward a few minutes here. That's a kill going to be being picked up by Going Ghost. Mini gets out. Is Pink Penguin now going to be alive there? And a bit of spectator issues. There must have been a pause during that spectator delay. Usually is what causes that to happen, but now we must have caught up.
Yeah, so from what we've caught up there, Mini getting a nice follow-up early kill into this bot lane again, just really picking on Verja and Pink Penguin here. And I like the thought, because if you can set Verja far enough behind here, then Naruto Stack, is going to be able to just kind of scale up there and actually maybe be able to threaten the 1v1 a little bit better, let Sermas roam a little bit more, because I think Morgana roams. She's one of the few enchanters where her roams are actually quite deadly. I had mentioned before that I had seen Morgana jungle recently. It wasn't very good, but if you can land the binding, it's almost a guaranteed kill when you're roaming around like that. So if Sermas, can start to roam a little bit earlier as well, like we're kind of seeing here, you actually secure a lot of jungle pressure for your team.
Yeah, and now that Sermas can move around the map, especially with if at level 6, once he does get that, or Chi, sorry, my mistake. Yeah, once you do get level 6 on Morgana, though, they also become that much more impactful, being able to secure that stun and well into the binding to just extend that CC. Definitely very powerful, and well, yeah, just early on, all around very good stuff from Going Ghosts.
Yeah, and for that gank into the bot side here, Jesus Juice responding really well, actually takes away Mini's top half of the map here. So Mini going to go into their jungle, find that there's not much camps left, and while gold from kills is good, the jungle experience is actually pretty critical here, and Mini might fall behind a little bit. So Jesus Juice will have a small window of opportunity where you've got ult and Lee Sin doesn't. I want to see what Jesus Juice is able to find with it here, because
Sermas will find the snare there. Pink Penguin there. to help his Seraphine out, throws out a Lantern, but that's still going to be a decent chunk of health taken out from the Seraphine for these next few minutes as the Drakes have now spawned. They are live, so potentially they just move over into the lead. Yeah, they are moving into the lane.
I love it. That's one of the things you can do with Silver. She's got really good wave clear. Just shove it out, you know, kind of push that in, chunk them out, go for Dragon. And unfortunately, once I have Little Monkeys, you can't really contest this. Jesus Juice hasn't hit that 6 yet. And Verja, kind of low on mana a little bit as well after those series of trades. Had to use a lot of it to heal back up. And that's first Dragon Inferno going the way here of going those very early.
Oh, but Sermis perhaps stepping a bit too far forward. They can. The backshoot will come out now. Pink Penguin going to be claimed on the count. Mini, but yeah. Oh! Stopwatch cap will keep him alive for a little bit longer, but it just might buy enough time for the rest of the team to come through. Buried Donut going to claim that onto Naruto Snack. The Heartbreaker going to find the kill onto Mini. Shutdown going over to Jesus Juice as he picks up 600 gold onto that kill. So after a really rough early game from Literal Monkeys, they do find an incredible fight there to pick up 3 and also claim the shutdowns onto the champions that they won.
Yeah, Heartbreaker, Hopebreaker coming through from Jesus Juice there. I mean, you say that the early game went well for Go and Ghost. We're 8.5 minutes into this game, Isaac. We are still in the early game.
You know, that's a valid point. That's a valid point.
But I agree with what you said. I mean, the first 5 minutes went so well here for Go and Ghost, and huge props to Mini. Mini is 3-1 and 100% kill participation. We had said we wanted to see this Lee Sin be that big difference maker for them, and it was right up to the moment where the ults came through, and then Buried Donut. I said I wanted to see more Weaver's Wall. That was perfect. You go down right away there. You turn the tides. Jesus Juice, Buried Donut, get to pop off, get the kills, and as much as it's good to get your Lee Sin snowballing early, the kills matter more for that Viego. He will scale up better, and now Jesus Juice is in a great position here to carry through the rest of the game.
Yeah, I mean, sitting 2-0-1, sitting pretty. Also with that farm lead from earlier that you were mentioning, because Mini was going and affecting his lanes, and rightfully so, understandably so. But it did give Jesus Juice that much extra time to pick up a few of camps. So he's sitting very pretty for himself right about now.
Yeah, good roam up from Sermis as well. We had said, you know, Morgana, very good roaming and counter support. Actually faster this time than Pink Penguin, and that's really zoning out Buried Donut here. Jesus Juice, though, coming from the other side is probably going to be a low lane.
Yeah, not going to be able to really contest that in time. Smite being used by Mini to claim that that Eye of the Herald, and we'll just walk away from each other for now.
Yeah, Pink Penguin a little bit late on the rotate, just gonna poke by, say hi. You know, I was here, guys. I was here. Didn't manage to affect much, but still, the presence at least there for the photo. And well played from the side of Go and Ghost. Yes, they are down a little bit after that series of plays, but if you got Drag, if you got Herald, that is a potential gold in your pocket you can use. Now, Mini coming around here.
Oh, Mini going to eventually find the kick. Maybe there it is onto Buried Donut. Took a while, a bit delayed. It looked a bit silly at first, if I'm being completely honest. But at the end of the day, they will still manage to find that kill there in the mid lane onto Buried Donut. And, well, indeed, he is in fact buried, specifically 6 feet there now. I'm not quite sure what dirt tastes like on donuts, but on a personal level, I don't know if you, RMC, I don't know if you've had a dirt donut before.
Bro, I might be a Minion, I might be Canadian, but even we have limits, man. I've never had a dirt donut in my life. Yes, we've got Tim Hortons, we've got a lot of weird flavors here. If anything, I feel like that's something Americans might randomly come up with.
Dirt flavored Tim Bits, the new menu item at Tim Hortons, confirmed right here by RMC. As we see another gank going towards this bot side. That's going to be ult popped by Naruto Snack, but I believe with the record camp kind of hopping away, I don't believe much else will come from that, unfortunately. Bit of a strange moment there, but either way, yeah, there we go. Dirt Timbits. There you go. That's what we confirmed on this stream. We leak things here at Blue Water League, and if you have something leaking that a key wouldn't help, but we have the Blue Water keychain available. We were said that maybe plugging it would be a good idea this time around. Well, there you have it. Yeah, they're now available as the Death Sentence will land on to Sermus, but I'm not sure there's enough damage to immediately find that kill, and no, there's not. And now this might be a little bit of trouble positionally, and Mini will be able to find that kill onto the enemy support.
He's still hunting though. He doesn't want to let Jesus go.
And he actually has the move speed. Flash away will connect with there, but yeah, no. Verja is there to prevent any sort of further fight coming through, but with Drake up, it should be really not quite maximum Drake stacking or soul stacking Drake stacking for the soul. All the same idea. Going to be coming through for the side of Going Ghost as they take that there. Berry Donut just might be in a bit of a difficult situation here as well. Minion Wave does come through in time though to help his team. Minions
they're not
really, no, they're not actually. Now you're saying that. Dark Binding going to land onto Pink Penguin though, not much else will come from that. Really far away for any sort of fight, but yeah, there was potential. There was potential. Nothing really came of it. I know that feeling all too well, but yeah, no, there we have it.
Yeah, and you know what, Going Ghost, I love that they've ramped up the amount of aggression here. Okay, we won't talk about what just happened up there. I love that Going Ghost, ramped up the aggression to really match the roam from Pink Penguin and Jesus Juice. And Mini, still 100% KP right now, 4-1 and 2 on this Lee Sin. No fear, just hunting Viego down here in the jungle. You saw him burn Jesus Juice's flash, and he was still hovering. I was actually half expecting, is he going to dive in here? And speaking of dives here, Mini and Sermus, they've wrapped around and found Pink Penguin.
Yeah, Pink Penguin. I mean, he thinks he's in his own jungle. The flay's already used, so he does decide to take it, which he doesn't, and probably wisely so. He did manage to drop a few wards there, know that the enemy team's missing, and decide, hey, we don't know where they are, so we're just not going to take that fight. So very good patience shown on the side of Going Ghost, but we're not over just yet.
Mini!
Find the Q. There it is. Kilgar will claim that as for himself there. Kill secured, but onto the person they want. All the while over to the side, Naruto Snack will pick up the kill onto Jesus Juice. So Going Ghost had a little bit of a hiccup there at a few minutes ago, but they quickly rectified their mistakes.
My goodness, here it feels like they didn't swap sides, because Going Ghost has just been on that top half of the map the entire time on that series of plays here. And it's very, very mechanical what they're doing here. It's not about good setup necessarily. They're just punishing, maximizing this Lee Sin, and well, I guess there's a reason why it's Mini's most played. Now, this Noodle senses something is wrong here. It's like, hey guys, I know we've been invaded constantly this game, so I'm going to play up a little bit safer. He's going to spot out Mini now, and that should just convince this Noodle. Take the long way back to your lane, mate. Don't try and take shortcuts here.
Yeah, actually, well, you say take the long way back. More so wait a few seconds as he does walk back through the river. Either way, end result still the same. But yeah, really good awareness from this Noodle to kind of the spidey senses were tingling, and also it's known as looking at your mini map. Sometimes something I personally forget to do. I'll be completely honest. I mean, who hasn't? I mean, who hasn't forgotten to look?
Yeah, and besides, you're the top lane, right? What do you need a mini map for?
Oh yeah, sure. It's a 1v1, right? There's no 4 other members on those.
You're not going anywhere. And to be fair to this Noodle, that lane has been the one lane that hasn't kind of bled out a little bit in that last series of exchanges. Actually, that's not fair. I think Verja bot side has actually held on really, really well, hasn't suffered. It's really about this mid-jungle support triumvirate we're seeing move around, which have really favored Going Ghost here. And for the side of Literal Monkeys, that's fine. Your Seraphine's going to scale up into a team fighting monster, and your Tryndamere to me is really the big win con here. Eventually, this Noodle is going to outscale, and the question will then be who's going to deal with this split pusher on this side. However, while they're waiting for that scale up to happen, they do have to make sure they're not losing too much else on the map.
There's one objective that really helps breaking open the map. especially with the mid lane tier 1 already taken. Second Rift Herald also going to be picked up, but that's going to be the Dark Binding landing onto Berry Donut. Enough, not enough actually, as Pink Penguin will haul his mid laner away. Just barely though, just barely.
Yeah, but the problem now is without Talia here, your wave clear isn't necessarily great. They are rotating Verja up to that mid lane right now to protect that mid inner turret. But if anything, Going Ghost could always just swap to a side lane. They have Herald as well, so they can absolutely take down an outer turret with impunity here. They're setting up an ambush here, and Naruto Snack is gonna be the bait here.
I do like this though, because they know that that Little Monkeys have no knowledge of any location. There it is. Mini will land the kick. Will it be enough to find damage? Yes, it will. Pink Penguin goes down, and Version now taking down to half health. I think with Drake coming up in just a few seconds now, as well as with this Rift Herald available for the side of Going Ghost. That they take this. That being said, Mini going to take 2 tower shots. That's a bit ill-advised. Jesus Juice going to get that kill now, and he's the Lee Sin. 2 more coming, or not 2 more coming. Double kill. Claim Weaver's Wall will be able to help Berry Donut find those few rocks that land onto the enemy ADC, and you have to think, well, at first I thought it was going to be Going Ghost, going to be claiming a fairly nice Drake for themselves, but they really overstayed their welcome.
Yeah, and to be fair to Going Ghost, if you're playing up against any other jungler but these Diego, pardon me, there, that actually would have been a good idea. Naruto Snack actually tanked some of the damage when Mini got rooted up under turret to make sure that Mini could get out alive. So they split the damage, and normally that's a great idea. But that actually enabled Jesus just to get those resets rolling, and then that became a problem. In a situation like that against a Viego, sometimes you just got to cut off the limb there. If you've got somebody who gets caught out, let them die. Everybody else disengage, and then you only lose one. As it stands, though, Literal Monkeys, they get a really good series of events. They're not able to take the turret, and they're still down in gold here. It is still Going Ghost who have the advantage. Now the question is, do they know it, and will they press it here? If we just look at the items, things are looking pretty even.
Yeah, and as you're saying, the about 2.5k gold lead. If my actually did I do my math correctly?
I'm not even gonna try. Caster math is terrible.
I'm just going to assume I did, and somebody can flame me because small fact about me is my mom's a math teacher. So if I mess that one up, it's a dishonor to the family. But but we're going to assume that it's 2.5k because quick maths not very quick for us. But yeah, no. All the while. This map going to open a bit more as that return was kind of saved a bit there by the side of Ghost. Hold on, Mini. I mean, he should be okay on the land. Is it enough damage though? Yes, it is. Verja going to take that kill. So a bit of a sort of strange happenings. Mini, I'm not quite sure what he was doing there, and actually Weaver's Wall is now available. Donut. Land on the guards, so Snack Verja going to claim that kill as well, and Sermus just has nowhere to go. Double kill going over to Verja on Seraphine. And I mean, it's just actually, no, we just hit the 20th minute, not to just 20 seconds ago.
No shot.
And they're trying it. They're trying it, RMC. They're going for it.
They can do it. They've got Luden to double Kraken Slayer. I am just shocked. And great play from them. They identify right away that, hey, we can actually try and do this. It's only Vino.
It's only Vino, but this noodle starts to get a bit low to lead. He does, in fact, still have that Undying Rage. That's going to be the Baron claimed, and I'm not sure there's much that Vino can do here. Yep, goes down. This noodle going to be claiming that kill, so I feel a bit extra gold being donated over to the side of Literal Monkeys there. And after a game that's been really Going Ghost's favor, just one fight is enough to quickly turn this one on its head.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe this. There's a player literally named Naruto Snack on the map, and he's not even the biggest bait in the game. Like, Berry Donut right now is the ultimate snack. He's baited Going Ghost to go in under turret there, and that was why Mini ended up getting punished. And then really great play from Berry Donut. I know I sang his praises game 1. I'm going to do it again game 2, because this Talia has been the emergency response unit, and now Naruto Snack, you don't win this.
Yeah, there's the hope, and the prayer does actually get this Noodle's flash. I believe that was a little bit unnecessary from this Noodle. Feel like he probably could have gotten that without using that summoner spell, but either way, we'll get that kill. See.
Yeah, the sick part is for the Tryndamere, the flash isn't even the critical thing to burn out. Ghost is going to be coming up back up before long. It's really the Undying Rage that you need to bait out on this Tryndamere. If not, this Noodle is somewhat unanswerable in the side lane. Now 2-0-2 here. I think Vino's done a great job handling this Noodle early game. Almost actually took that top lane turn. If he just had a bit more alone time in the 1v1, Vino might have been able to take it. But we're now past that stage where Set is going to comfortably lane into this Tryndamere. If anything, this Noodle, you know, with that little bit of lifesteal here coming through, is going to be more than enough sustain that even Set with the Pit Grit, with the passive, won't be able to handle.
Yeah, and now with Baron as well, it's just compounding effects, and it's just how fast that this change has happened in terms of the game state. That's kind of messing with my head if I'm being completely honest here, but really just unexpected and against the run of play. So I reset my own brain works there. We just might have a fight with Smith and teleport coming through from Kilgard closest mid lanes, and we just might be looking for a fight from Going Ghost. Kilgard going to use that teleport there, not going to have that available for the next few minutes. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm a big fan.
This Noodle doesn't have teleport, so it's not the end of the world that they used it there. My bigger question is, what were you hoping to look for? Because Vino didn't have TP, wasn't able to come down. So at best, you're looking for a 4v4 here. And they do catch up to Berry Donut.
Oh, no, hold on. Berry Donut going to be taken down really fast early on. That being said, Service is the response going to do. No, Zonia's enough to keep him alive. And it is an incredible fight for the side of Going Ghost. Will be able to get that kill on in response onto Sermus there, but at the end of the day, it's an incredible fight taken by Going Ghost. And after that, I would say a bit more than a hiccup, more like a road bump there, or a pothole that in their game plan. Quickly turn that around. Keeping up with this analogy. Also, I mean, I guess they have really good mechanics there on the side of Going Ghost. Both in terms of gameplay and the analogy. That was a bad analogy. Either way, still really good stuff from Going Ghost. At the end of the day, that's what matters.
Yeah, and we've got to keep our eyes on stopwatches and Zonias again, because once again, this game, that's what's making the critical difference. The fact that the Viego, who honestly is quite fed, right? 4-2-2 right now, or I think it was 3-2-2 or 3-1-2 before that fight there. Jesus Juice is fed, and he's looking to get those resets because of the delays that came through. I think it was either Sermus's or Mini's stopwatch there. Jesus Juice couldn't. Was Sermus? Yeah. So they couldn't get the resets rolling in that fight, and you saw that, hey, if you can't, the Sivir damage starts to come through, the Victor damage starts to come through as well and rips them apart. So it worked that time, and it can work again in the future. So Jesus Juice has to be very, very careful about who you're choosing to go in on and whether those timers are available or not. Now, we also did see topside, this Noodle just took out half of Vino's health bar with no answer whatsoever. And I believe it was Sneezes in chat in game 1 saying, it's Borking time. And it's Borking time again. Blade of the Rune King completed a second time this game. That's your sustain. That's your damage. That's all you need as this Tryndamere to become an unstoppable split push monster on the side.
But not only do they have one Blade of the Rune King, they have two Blade of the Rune Kings because Viego.
True, this is possibility there.
And if Jesus Juice buys the Blade of the Rune King, not quite in terms of lore, not quite sure that would happen. That being said, this Noodle, speaking of its working time, will be able to use that to his full advantage here. Undying Rage will come through, so he's looking fine for now. As the tower claimed this Noodle, will he find the kill onto Mini though? No, he won't. Shutdown going on to Naruto's stack, and of all the members of the side of Going Ghost that you want to see it going onto, it is that Sivir. That Juice is here now. Dark Fighting will land himself on the Penguin, and I believe that'll be Going Ghost mostly out for now. There, Donut. Perhaps trying to find a flank there. Teleport coming through from the set, though. I don't believe this is just over yet. Dino now, is he out of position? He will pop in, ultimate use, but he has that shield now coming through. The Encore will find its way onto 4. Not quite going to find enough damage just yet. That being said, these health bars are still very low. So, a very, very, very heart and mouth moment sort of fight that's not over just quite yet. I really want to at some point to send it over to you, RMC, because we definitely have that Baron coming up, and I believe now they'll finally start to pull away from each other and not continue that fight. But yeah, definitely very tentative that fight with those low health bars.
Yeah, and a lot of that coming from Literal Monkeys. The poke and sustain that the Talia and Seraphine is giving them right now. You saw how much damage Barry was putting out in those choke points. And granted, Kilgar's doing kind of the same thing with a lot of damage in those choke points, but the Seraphine healing is kind of making the difference. And where's the healing cut right now from the side of Go and Ghost? I'm not seeing it on anybody. So this Seraphine is...
Oh, that's going to be a Dark Binding landed by Sermis just out of... I mean, yeah. Clem getting picked up by Naruto Snack there. Bit of a strange moment there, a bit unexpected. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, no, Kill going over to the side of Going Ghost.
Well played from Sermis there, able to pick that one up. And one thing that we haven't touched on too much has been dragons being taken. Go and Ghost has managed to get themselves onto Soul Point right now, and it is Hextech Soul again for the second game in a row. And Hextech Soul is incredibly strong here for a lot of these teams. Right now, we've seen that Go and Ghost is struggling a little bit to keep the fight going, to chase down their opponents. They're a little bit leery of it. Having that slow, that sort of chain lightning passive as well will go a long ways for Go and Ghost to decide whether or not they want to go in and how they want to disengage. So they're definitely setting up. They want this. It's coming up in less than a minute here. And for Literal Monkeys, they need to contest this. You do not want to give this over. This is the most powerful Soul. And Soul's got buffed last patch or this patch?
I believe it was last patch. The Encore going to be used and not going to find spam to anybody, even though Sermis was spotted out on that ward there. So all the while with the TP coming through, they're just going to have to walk away on the side of Literal Monkeys and concede control in this jungle. That being said, Sermis is going to take a nice chunk of damage there. Not quite going to go down, but still probably going to have to play position a lot more carefully for this upcoming fight. There's wall available. Ability to just hop towards that back line from Barry Donut, not something you want to completely write off either.
A good shoving hitting from Kilgar there to get a little bit of prior. There's not a lot of vision in the river here, so it's kind of blind. Vino caught over the wall.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely caught, but he does have this shield still available. Will it be enough? This Noodle going to pick up kill onto Vino, and all the while, this Noodle has found way to the back line. Double kill as well. Naruto Snack was able to find a kill in return there. But,
okay.
Oh, hold on. The Undying Rage does expire. Will it be enough for... No, it won't be for Jesus Juice. And actually, not sure it will matter too much, but that'll be a triple kill going on to Naruto Snack. But all the while, that's going to be an ace for the side of Literal Monkeys, as they will be able to stop Go and Ghost from taking this strategy.
Vino is tanky, but Vino is not tanky enough, unfortunately. You can't sit in the middle of 5 members like that. There's a lot of burst damage that can come through. And again, double Kraken Slayer plus Blade of the Ruined King, or double Blade of the Ruined King, as you rightly pointed out, means that no matter how tanky you are, you will absolutely get shredded. Props, though, to Go and Ghost. That fight actually went better than I expected it to go, and a lot of that was Naruto Snack being able to survive. It's once again the Collector build that we saw in Game 1. I am not necessarily a fan of this build. I really don't think it's optimal damage necessarily, but it is a faster, earlier damage spike coming through, and it's shown its strength right here. The fact that you were able to finish off this Noodle and kill Jesus Juice, those are the two big carries right now of Literal Monkeys, as well as Barry Donut has been playing. Barry Donut's actually down CS from roaming so much and hasn't been able to pick up the kill. So if you can finish off Noodle, you can finish off Jesus Juice, that's more than half the fight won to your team.
Yeah, and, well, hold on, brain fart. Excuse me, headed brain small. Hold on, technical difficulties from the caster here.
And we're getting a big brain moment sponsored by Blue Water League's keychain here. If you want to unlock your memory, get yourself a Blue Water keychain to put your keys on, because clearly this caster doesn't have one here. But all the while we may just have a. Move it like back away from each other. But yeah, wow, hold on. Hello? The hamster up there just stopped running. You know, the wheel stopped. Gotta reboot the everything up there. You need to upgrade from hamsters to otters here.
True. Actually, hold on. Speaking of animals, Pink Penguin going to be taken down, caught out of position. Naruto's not going to pick up that kill, so going to get a little bit more. Yeah, they will actually. They're hovering on it right now, and I don't believe, with this noodle going the other way, I don't believe this is going to be contested at all.
Little Monkey saw it as well because their wards got cleared while Baron was being leashed up by the side of Go and Go. So Little Monkey's making the executive decision, hey, we don't want to contest this right now. Yeah, we've got a whole bunch of outs. Yeah, we just lost our support and support only. But this noodle doesn't have TP, so you can't make the cross-map play. And that's something you have to be very careful of when you're not running that teleport on that top lane.
Yeah, and this top wave also, I mean, the amount of minions that are stacked in it can do a lot of work on its own. With that Baron buff, we'll be able to take that top lane tier 2 as well, so just opening up the map a little bit more. There's a side of going Ghost, but this noodle, as you were saying, even though maybe not having that teleport available, still sitting level 17 at 2.5 items. He's definitely not feeling bad in these side lanes. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, he's perfectly fine. I mean, a lot of times we see Gale Force Tryndamere come through instead of the Kraken Slayer so that you have ways to engage or potentially disengage, more mobility to come through. This noodle doesn't have that, which is why we're seeing this noodle just kind of push and then back off, push and then back off. And even in these team fights, he's been struggling a little bit to reach the back line. It's kind of damage traded off for mobility here. And for this noodle, yeah, you're just looking kind of for that side lane split push as much as possible. I'd actually like to see this noodle rotate it to the top lane instead right now. Or, I mean, bot's fine, but Dragon's coming up in 1:40. And ideally, like about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes before, you want to be cross-map pushing that lane, reset, and then go to the bot side so that you're actually at the objective you want to fight for at the right time. Now, this noodle getting collapsed on here.
Yeah, this noodle maybe not quite aware that the whole enemy team is coming his way. Will he find enough damage onto Vino before he goes down? No, Vino going to claim that kill onto the enemy top laner with a little bit of help from his friends. And, oh wow, that will give the side of going Ghost the advantage to set up for this Drake that is coming up in a minute, as you were saying, RMC.
Yeah, they get free push on this bot side as well. There's no need for them to go for Dragon just yet. You can go and take that inhibitor turret first. That's better for Go and Go. So I love that they've understood that. They're pushing up here. And once again, not a lot of threat. You have vision on Barry Donut top.
Verja going to have to burn his Zhonya's there early. Not quite. Yeah, I mean, to cut myself off there. I don't know what happened to the brain, but it's not gone well. But a flash word from Kilgar is enough. Yes, it is enough to find kill onto Verja. And Nona is back, but I don't believe that he'll be able to do too much there. So Kilgar's okay. Teleport coming through. We'll have 5-4 Nova's man. Hard fighting will land onto Barry Donut. Vino now away. That as you're saying, Jesus Juice has respawned. Perhaps he will find the on Vino. Surely, is it enough? Not quite just yet. Actually, is it? No, it's not. And all the while, over across the fight, the other way, it will be at the expense of his team. So, a bit of a trade going on here. Not over just yet. Jesus Juice is down. Kilgar going to claim that one with the zap from the Victor going to come through just now. And as this Victor's, he's almost on 4 items now. Actually, wait, can I count? No, I can't. He is on 4.5 items actually. Kilgar doing a lot of damage as he's now truly scaled into the late.
Yeah, and for the side of Little Monkey there, a lot of that started with just this noodle being picked, and this noodle actually respawned, went into the fight, died immediately again. Did not have the Undying Rage ready for that second half of the fight, and now that Hextech Dragon that we saw so hotly contested just 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago here, has fallen into the hands of Go and Ghost. The scaling is strong with them here. The only concern is trying to stop this noodle in the side lane, and without that teleport here, this noodle has to now sit on that top half of the map because Baron is spawning in about 2 minutes here. And for Go and Ghost, you can ignore that. You've still got an inner top side turret standing. If you just group as 5 and push right down the mid lane with the Hextech Dragon, Hextech Soul, pardon me here, your Victor and your Sivir is more than enough to shred everybody. Naruto stack now 11, 6, and 9, i.e. Lord Dominic's Regard completed here. Each of those autos are going to be chunking for anywhere from 1/4 to 1/3 of the health bars of Literal Monkey.
And not only that, those auto attacks will be bouncing around in those fights as well, especially if we get fights in the jungle that don't really allow you to space out as much for for literal monkeys, it will be the ideal situation. Since they try to reestablish vision dominance here, Mini's going to be taking deaths, but definitely not going to be one the fight you want to take there from the side of literal monkeys, and to due respect the rest of.
And this is where the compositional issues we discussed in draft are starting to come in for literal monkeys here. If they're hit, great. They kind of just push this up and, you know, speed their way through it. But when they fall behind right now, you saw that Death Sentence lands, great. Who's actually doing the damage here? Verja doesn't really have that much burst damage. Yeah, you've got the Seraph's Embrace and Liandry's, but Liandry's and Rylai's, those are more utility or damage over time builds here. And you need Buried Donut to set up Jesus Juice. Jesus Juice can't actually go in and pop somebody immediately. He's more follow-up here. So if anything, you need to send Verja to be the one sort of handling that wave pushing in bot and work with Buried Donut instead for Pink Penguin to find a pick.
Yeah, and speaking of finding the picks, we have a few key abilities, CC abilities getting thrown out. Instead, this Death Push. The teams, they know they both have to be somewhere nearby, and that is going to be enough with the Oracle in, but that means
oh my goodness.
Explodes! Oh my god! The damage is incredible! That being said, Jesus Juice is in the backline. It just might be what they need, and I don't think it will be enough, though. It does find the first kill, though, on Service. On low, Jesus Juice trying to find every last bit of damage he can. Will he? No, he won't. And this noodle, the Undying Range, surely about to end soon. There it goes. And that's going to be going Ghost, looking to probably even end through the bottom lane here.
Yeah, they've got double supers on that bot lane. It took long enough to push in. So that's going to be a nice, easy end for them. And Go and Ghost, it was long, it was painful, but the scaling kicked in. And ultimately, Kilgar, Mini, and Vino right there kited out that last fight so well against this noodle. This noodle just couldn't actually find any kills, and unfortunately for Jesus Juice there, once again, if they're not low, you can't get the resets. We're seeing that composition come through, and if anything here, Isaac, I'm expecting a Lee Sin ban, because Mini on this Lee Sin is illegal.
Oh yeah, for sure. Going into game 3, we saw why it was banned. I mean, it was banned away in game 1, and now we get a demonstration as to why. So I fully expect it to not appear in game 3. But also something to mention, we've got 2 games with essentially not the same sort of composition, not the same identical compositions, but definitely the same sort of composition coming through, and both win conditions coming through for both these teams and the way they want to play. So unless if we have a major adaptation from both these teams, we clearly see how both these teams say we want to win. Little Monkeys say we want to win early and we want to win through Jesus Juice in the jungle, and all the while Going Ghost say, okay, fair play, do that.
Yeah, and I think honestly going into the game 3 here, like I said, the only big change up that needs to happen is you ban Lee Sin here. You've got a Nami, Jin, J4 bans from the side of literal monkeys here, and frankly, even if you open up the Jin, I don't know if we see Naruto Snack go for that Jin instead of this Sivir, which has been so powerful here. Or maybe you open up that Nami a little bit here, because that Morgana play from Sirmis, especially in game 2, was so on point here. How much worse can the Nami really be? And if you take away that Lee Sin, then the question goes to Mini, what else do you have that can influence the early game as effectively here? If Lee Sin's off the board, if J4 is off the board, yeah, you've got Xin Zhao and Volibear, we're talking early game junglers, but they don't have that same mobility that we saw from Mini, enabling a lot of those early dives and skirmishes.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see what they go with in game 3. But until then, we are going to send it to a break. But when we come back, we will have that draft. So it won't be long until then. Don't go anywhere.
Minions have spawned. First blood.
Welcome back, everybody. We're into the final game of this series. This is week 1 of Blue Otter League's Gold Division, the Ionia Division here. And Isaac, it's been a banger series so far. We get ourselves a Game 3. And going into Game 3, it is going to be Literal Monkeys on the blue side, going Ghost on the red side.
Yeah, yet another change of sides. And, well, considering blue side has won both these times around, not completely unexpected, especially since... a lot of the counter pick hasn't been nearly as effective as you would have liked to see in Game 1 and Game 2 here. But in just a few moments, we should be waiting on these teams to start the draft. A bit of a strange sort of situation there, but until then, yeah, I mean, as it was, two teams, obviously, Literal Monkeys, and Going Ghosts. They've shown the cards that they want to play. Like Literal Monkeys, they like the champion strength early on and not so much a care for composition. And Going Ghosts, definitely like a more cohesive team composition. And we saw the strengths and weaknesses of both those philosophies in games 1 and 2. And so now we see ourselves into game 3, and immediately with these bans, it's looking very similar. RMC.
Identical thus far here. No real changes. And I had said the big difference, I think, would be a Lee Sin ban coming through. It's not going to be a Lee Sin ban. Instead, they swap up. They open up the J4 here for a Morgana ban. So Surmus, she left a major impression on Literal Monkeys here, and they're trying to pinch that pool instead. First pick gonna come through, and surprise, surprise to absolutely no one, Sivir, first picked for Literal Monkeys.
Yeah, and that'll take away the option from Going Ghost, as they had selected.
Wait, yeah,
that.
sorry, it's swapped. It was Going Ghost.
Yeah, we changed sides again.
I got the thing. Sorry, Literal Monkeys have been Seraphine prowling, so this is a big swap. But never mind, it is to at least my surprise here that they've gone for the Sivir.
Yeah, no, yeah. We did actually have a change of sides. I mean, I guess I hand that mistake off to you now, as even though realize that the sides were technically changed, a little bit of a mistake there, but it's fine. Lee Sin will also be open for Going Ghost though, and we saw how much Mini was able to go off in that early game for Going Ghost last time out, which was the connection that they needed from the early game to the late game there. But Misfortune will be the option now that they don't have the Sivir there.
Yeah, and this is quite a big change up because Misfortune is not a late game AD carry whatsoever. Now she's an AD carry who would build Collector as part of her normal build here. So a massive change up, and one where you're kind of looking to maybe poke down the Sivir early, out trade potential, and look for big team fight setups. Literal Monkeys, on the other hand, they pick up their support, and I guess, with this change up here, without that Seraphine, they don't want to get engaged support. They've gone with an Enchanter instead, and one that we don't see all too often here, Janna, being picked up.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting. I actually don't dislike it because with the Lee Sin showing, definitely, is that an insta lock on the
Yep.
Hey, what? Wow. Okay, we're zooming here.
Okay.
No, don't even have a moment to really talk about. Yeah, no, I don't completely dislike Janna as the answer with Lee Sin getting picked up. I mean, Janna has a lot of disruption, especially level 6. Because, I mean, before level 6, the tornado, it can stop dashes, but it's still a skill shot, one that you can definitely miss time as well. But once you hit level 6, you say, I press R, and all of a sudden Lee Sin no longer can hop onto whoever he wants. So it's not common, but I also don't immediately dislike it for that reason.
For sure. I mean, you can also stop him from coming in if you time the monsoon correctly there. That's it. The second phase of bans coming through here. And now these are similar. The only big difference is it's going to be the... what got traded for the Victor there? The Singe got opened up, and that was the one that I didn't really understand why we're seeing Singe bans come through. They're going to ban the Victor instead, and I think that is a great ban to come through once again. Actually, I gotta be careful about saying once again because it's Little Monkeys who've been playing the Talia. Going Ghost is gonna be picking up this time.
Yeah,
and Little Monkeys have to swap things up now in the mid lane. That's spicy. Isaac, we were talking about it off stream, and I was kind of saying, are we expecting a big change up
I
and
wasn't.
take some fans?
I wasn't.
Yeah, we weren't, but they've done it, and I actually really like this because it changes everything going to game 3.
Yeah, because all of a sudden, these two teams, at least in their identity, have completely swapped. Because
Yeah.
games 1 and 2, Literal Monkeys, they're like, okay, we win early or we lose, and then vice versa is that Going Ghosts are like, okay, if we don't lose early, we win. But all the while, just completely flipped on its head. It'll be fun to see how both these teams change up their style just after playing most of the series with a specific way, and with Ornn being locked in by Literal Monkeys, really they're going all in on that team fighting capability, and with Going doesn't have much time left, we'll pick Gnar as counter pick. Fairly common counter pick, because in the early levels, Gnar having that range as mini Gnar going to definitely help in that top side. But yeah, a complete 180 on these two teams on what they want to do, really.
Yeah, and you mentioned skilling was what Going Ghost was going for, Isaac. It's completely flipped. Every single lane right now for Literal Monkeys outscales pretty much. We already touched on Sivir versus Misfortune. Jungle matchup, Lee Sin, incredibly early game jungler. Kayn likes to be active early to get all those stacks rolling with those orbs, but he himself is actually not good in the early game. He needs time to scale up. He needs to change form here. So he's a bit more of a mid to late game champion as well. Kassadin, or shall we call him Kassawin? Because level 16, Kassawin and Kayle are the two champions who are infamous for hitting level 16 and killing everybody on the Rift. But pre-level 6, Kassadin is incredibly vulnerable, and I wouldn't be surprised if Going Ghost throws everything in the kitchen sink at this mid lane here. I have seen Kassadins go 0 and 10 before 10 minutes here, depending on how the laning phase goes. So I would love to see that focus coming down from Going Ghosts and the Ornn as well. Like you mentioned, Gnar, great choice into the Ornn for the lane. But Ornn will outscale and have more consistent impact in the team fights, plus the masterwork items here. So Literal Monkeys here, massive skilling, and Going Ghost, the shoes on the other foot, right? Like before, they were the ones kind of holding out the early game. Like, hey, can we survive? Can we drag this out long enough before we come online? And even last game, they had an early lead with all that Mini did. But it was really about the late game when the Sivir started to scale up, when Naruto Snack could just absolutely wipe a team in 3-4 autos there with those bouncing blades. This time, no. You've got Misfortune, Zyra. That's a very lane-dominant duo, especially into an Enchanter, another squishy here. You're the one with the Taliyah now, sort of that global pressure that we saw Literal Monkeys utilize so well. And so the test now goes to Going Ghost. Can you speed up the game enough to close it out before skilling kicks in?
Yeah, and if we go back to what you said a bit earlier with that mid-jungle duo, Lee Sin, Taliyah, since Kassadin, that's rough. That's really rough. I would hope to see probably either an exhauster to help survive that early game as well, maybe. But even then, the amount of kill pressure that Taliyah Lee Sin brings at really any point of the game, not just the early game, until you get to that level 16, it's going to be just really difficult for Berry Donuts to really do anything.
Yeah, sometimes with these Kassadin lanes, you just kind of have to seed several waves to the enemy team, because even trying to farm under turret is going to be really difficult against Taliyah. Taliyah Q is long range enough to poke you under turret, especially if you don't have minions shielding for you. And they've always got the risk that, hey, if you step up a little bit, if you get pinned between the wall and the turret there, you get seismic shoved out, and then it's such an easy kill for that Lee Sin, for that Taliyah. And ever, if your wave bounces back, you can actually freeze the wave on a Kassadin. That's not something you can do to most mid laners, because they have ways of disrupting the wave and pushing it back to get it bouncing. Kassadin has none of that. At best, his E is his only AoE spell, barring his ultimate, and you've got to get in pretty close range to pop that one off here. So, yeah, a bit of a tall ask coming through of the Literal Monkeys here, especially in that mid lane. So, Isaac, before we head into a break to get into game here, I'm going to ask you, looking at these compositions, looking at how the teams have played so far, where's your money on?
I for all the channel points, if they are doing that in the world, I like Going Ghosts, honestly. obviously it is execution based.
Mhm.
So if they do fail to meet those conditions that we have said, that yeah, sure, literal monkeys can. I don't think there's any sort of power in the early game from literal monkeys. So we saw in games 1 and 2, even though the teams were flipped around, going ghost in game 1, they similar sort of situation. They had all the scaling in the world, but they couldn't get the game under control to scale. But and then in game 2, when they had that little bit of early game help from Mini, it helped them bridge into that late game. And so taking what we've seen so far in the series, even though the teams are flipped in terms of style, I believe it should be a similar story, but then again, it is all dependent on going ghosts fulfilling their win conditions. And on a personal level, they haven't gone ghost one time so far in this game. I'm not quite sure where they would go ghost this time around either. So a little bit disappointed there, but that's more so a minor thing in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, maybe they Ghostblade, Leeson. Ghostblade Nar.
True. Either way,
I'd be incredibly shocked if they did. But you know what? Fair enough, Isaac. You're rooting for Go and Ghost here, and I've got to say, given what we've seen this series as well, I fully understand where you're coming from, and yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think Go and Ghost has a lot of really strong lanes here, and we've not seen literal monkeys play these sort of more scaling compositions. I mean, we've seen Verja 2-game Seraphine, and as good as the Seraphine has been, it's not a traditional marksman. It's not like a Sivir where your positioning is paramount, and you're kind of a utility build. This time you've really got to step up. Berry Donut, great Talia so far. Kassadin, completely different beast, and I'm gonna vote for Going Ghost as well here. Not because I think literal monkeys can't execute, more just because I haven't seen literal monkeys play this sort of composition, and with the big change up in style from a lot of these picks, I have no clue what to expect here, Isaac. So Yeah, so without further ado here, we are going to throw to a break while we load into the game. It shouldn't be too much longer here before we come to the conclusion of our first week of Blue Otter Gold League Season 8 here, which has been absolutely insane thus far.
Minions have spawned. First blood. Shut down.
And welcome back, everybody. We should be getting onto the Rift shortly here. You get one last glimpse at at Isaac's handsome face and whatever this is, before we get onto the Rift for Game 3 here.
Nah,
And
man. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the compliment, but nah, we're all fine. But yeah, no, we are back here for game three. I rise alongside the is random. I was about to say random caster minion, but that's not it. As
To
um,
Summoner's Rift.
well, I mean, so it's random minion caster, but yeah, straight away into game three. Here we are.
and
Antics.
I mean, I like this from Golden Ghost, right? You've got the more aggressive early game composition here. You've got a lot of kill threat. If you can catch anybody at level 1, is going to go in, but will get spotted by Pink Penguin. And you know what? That tornado, it's coming in real handy right away here. Stops everybody dead in its tracks, and that's a lot of gold to Pink Penguin to start the game here. I think it procced all the stacks of the support item.
I'm fairly certain it did. It definitely hit enough members to proc all the members of proc all the stacks of Shard of True Ice. There we go. That's more like it. And also we also get a slow early view as the glacial augment on that on Pink Penguin's Janna, and how just the slows that came through afterwards, not only on the tornado as well, that does slow you afterwards, but the slow zones with the glacial augment pretty much meant that the side of Going Ghost, and they weren't technically snared, but they were just about. It's like Zillion W. It's like it's a 99% slow, so it's like you're not technically snared, but like, I mean, really, are you not snared?
You're knocked up. You're slowed. It's close enough there, and you know what? It's I'm looking at the Glacial Augment. I think it's going to be useful in lane. I don't know how useful it will be out of lane here, because I feel like a lot of Going Ghost doesn't care about running at or away from you. Like, they're just going to stand and fight. It's about the initial engage. If they can find the engage with the Gnar, then they're kind of set. Or if they can snare you with the roots from Zyra, they're set. Kilgar, repositioning slightly. Mini isn't going to be walking for the most part, so we'll have to see how useful the Glacial Augment is out of lane. For now, though, we're seeing the poke come down from the Zyra and the Misfortune already. It's only going to get worse. I do want to highlight, this is not going to be the Comet tier Misfortune that we were seeing for maximal poke for a while there. It is press the attack. It is Doran's Blade here. So Naruto stack is going to be looking to auto attack and auto reset a little bit to get maximal damage instead.
Yeah, and well, knowing that none of these, something that you're mentioning as well, across all these lanes, no sort of priority whatsoever will me thinking a little bit more bravely with the level advantage to Jesus Juice.
Yeah. And Kilgar moving in as well to cut this off. Jesus Juice still wants this. The smite goes off, and we do see Vino cutting them off as well. Noodle gonna get tagged. This is a level 2 Ornn. He's really squishy here. Doesn't burn the flash. Now he burns it. Well played, well held, and it's a flash for flash. No kills.
Oh yeah, I mean, this Noodle. I mean, obviously, flashing maybe not the most mechanically intensive summoner spell ever. Actually, we would. God. Oh wait, Jesus used this here as well.
Yeah,
I take it away.
Just gonna fight with Mini instead here, because Mini took so much damage earlier, is kind of low, baiting Jesus Juice a little bit. Am I? Aren't I? Backs off onto Vino here, and sure, Jesus Juice loses out on the blue buff, but Mini not that far ahead.
Yeah, not that much at all. They kind of just hang around in the same sort of area, but one thing that it does mention is oh, hold on, we gotta get towards the mid lane, but not from the junglers.
Nope, the whole bot lane just roamed up here. Barry Donut will have to burn flash, but will stay alive for now. And you've got to just be wondering right now, where were the MIA pings here for Literal Monkeys, right? Like, Naruto Snack and Sermus just roamed up, and hey, Barry Donut obviously wasn't expecting it.
Yeah, and I think it's something that we're going to see just more of throughout this game, because I mentioned the priority earlier, the lane priority, and Going Ghosts have every single lane pushing non-stop. They have the early game power, and they're clearly using it to their advantage. And Barry Donut, like, what do you do here as a Kassadin without flash or mana for that matter?
You call for help, and help has arrived. Jesus Juice gonna force the flash out from Mini, and they're gonna keep on going here. Great dash over the wall. Gonna keep Mini safe for now here, but that's the risky run is Going Ghost. When you keep this aggression up top side, this Noodle barely getting out. Remember, he has no flash, had to burn it earlier, and Vino getting his revenge this game for the series where he's been bullied out in the 1v1.
Yeah, getting to play the game within that minute one. Definitely and using that to his full advantage there, and like knowing that this team didn't have the flash on board. Really, yeah, just using that to its full potential there. But even though the lane priority coming back to that was strongly in favor of going ghosts, but Mini hasn't necessarily been farming too much, so still a bit behind there in terms of gold. We'll have to wait see if they can catch us back up because no kills are quite consumed. Kilgar though.
Kilgar should be fine. Jesus Juice isn't necessarily looking for the kills right here, and Kilgar is safe enough in positioning. They're just trying to get vision and track where Mini is right now. And Mini, you're right, is down significant CS, but it's CS that was banked. He can clear it out. He just had to get there, and that's why we're seeing the side of Little Monkeys kind of like unsure where the jungler might be at this point in time because Mini's pathing has been so heavily shifted with that early game invade.
Oh, well, speaking of, you're talking about phrases in the mid lane, but oh wow, this is I feel bad for the bot lane of Literal Monkeys. There's not much you can do unless you can that conduct there.
Yeah, they get really good poke onto Sirmus, actually. And keep in mind, Sirmus, no flash as well, so definitely punishable here. But the bot lane freeze isn't quite as bad right now. It will push back in, and with the way both of these lanes have been pushing here, it's just kind of give and take. They do manage to land the slow onto Verja, but with the spell shield, it's so hard to land anything that sticks. And with that sort of pressure from the bot side, Going Ghosts are going to look to secure themselves the first break of the game.
I mean, I think this is pretty much expected with how these lanes have been and the way they're positioned towards the blue side of the map. I think this map is going to be all Minis to go where he pleases, even though he's not quite on that window. He still does have that advantage. The knowledge that his laners will arrive first if there is any sort of fight that does break out, at least for now. So even though we're sitting at 0-0 at 7.5 minutes, and still slowly starting to garner the on the side of the goal.
Yeah, and we had set up in the draft the fact that Going Ghosts are the ones with the pressure to perform early here. So you're right that, Mini can go in looking for this sort of action. And it's not that he can, it's that he must. If Mini is not able to find Jesus Juice or find ganks in lane here, this Lee Sin pick really isn't going to pan out compared to that Kayn, who now already has that Iron Spike whip, is going to be fast clearing the jungle even quicker right now. Now bot side, Sirmus and Naruto stack there looking for an ambush. They find it, and the bullet time comes across the bird. The ignite is going to be just enough. Actually, it wasn't even an ignite. It was just, I think, the edge of the bullet time able to secure that one. First blood down to that Misfortune.
Yeah, and just good patience from the side of Going Ghost's bot lane, knowing that there was no knowledge of the location. They were just sitting in that bush, and sometimes you gotta stay real quiet in that bush and say, it's okay, guys, trust. It's going to come back to us. They don't know we're here, and we can claim this kill this way. And yeah, no, I do really respect that. The side of Naruto, Snack, and Service.
And with that as well, that is going to be Herald for the side of ghosting here. They're able to pick it up with Mini with that pressure on the bot side. And, Isaac, you mentioned sort of that bait push from Naruto, Snack, and Sirmus, not tracking them. I want to highlight that because that's the second time now where Little Monkeys didn't track where this bot lane was here. I mean, the first time they roamed into mid, no MIA call. This time again, no MIA call. They felt a little bit too comfortable. They just push out, get punished here, and you gotta be careful, especially when you're alone in that lane. Pushing out is rarely the right option. If you can freeze, that's probably your best call.
Yeah, and especially since these waves are always just going to come back to them anyway. Hold on.
Oh, they get the burst damage coming down. This time it's a double up here, along with that press the attack. And Naruto Snack, I mean, we said this bot lane was a really strong one into sort of an enchanter, an AD carry, and Naruto Snack there making it look good. Bullet time not quite off yet, but Mini wants to force this. They land the snare here. Mini just diving makes it look so easy, so clean.
That'll be tower.
Didn't even tank it.
Well, it should have been tower if they waited on to deploy this herald a bit later. But slight mishap there. But all the while, God maybe looking towards the top side of Jesus. Yeah.
Okay, they get the slow there. Vino does have flash available. Will get tagged in. Can he go mega in time here? Doesn't even need to, and this Noodle tagged the turret the entire time. Now Jesus Juice trying to run away. Once again, that flash is up and available bot side. We're getting action as well as Mini manages to 1v1 Penguin. I mean, yes, it's a jungle into support, but that was also with turret. And yeah, they get out on that bot side. Go and Ghost secures first brick as well as answering the 1v2 gang top side.
Yeah, earlier you were saying that something needs to happen, and well, and well, it did. It took them a little bit. It took them a little bit longer than we might have first expected, but now that they managed to get those 4 kills to none and about a 4,500, not quite, just under 4,500 golden lead. Now is when I hope to see that we really started to see this game get blown. Like it's been blown open, but there's still little pieces of the gate still holding on that need to be knocked down to truly allow the to allow the water through. It's a floodgate, actually, in that analogy. Yeah,
and I guess the valves for this floodgate would then be the outer turrets here in the top and mid lane. Those are still standing, and while there is good damage being put down on them here, it hasn't gone down yet. And I want to give props to Barry Donut, who has maintained the CS despite the super rough lane that we were talking about. Vino top side just going to run down this Noodle. There isn't really kill threat, but the fact that you're able to chase down an Ord to half health is an issue. Never mind, Noodle actually gets pulled out here from under turret. Ornn still very tanky, but playing with fire a little bit, and this Noodle has not looked as clean on this Ornn, this tank, as he has on the counter matchups and the carries that we've seen in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and I know take look back all the way to draft if so if you're just tuning in, might be first time you're hearing this, but yeah, no, all of the Dino now being able to have that counter pick, we were saying, does he have the ability to really take advantage of that range? And well, clearly showing that he was there. A bit off on the not being able to land the stun, which, I mean, you said there's no kill threat there, but that last fight may have just suggested otherwise.
I stand by it here. I said there shouldn't be kill threat in that top side as long as this Noodle doesn't overextend. Now, we did see second dragon go down in favor of going Ghost. They're continuing to accelerate the pace of the game, and they're about to take this mid lane turret down. Verja here to wave clear for now, and Jesus Juice actually forces the flash out of Naruto stack. I don't think that was necessary. There was a kill bot side as well, which unfortunately we didn't catch, but hey, it's onto a Kassadin. Granted, post 6 Kassadin, but with a Talia, with the Lee Sin, there's ways to punish. And now Mini trying to steal away this Rid. This looks a little bit greedy in my opinion here, but we do have Kilgar backing them up, and we do see Sermus in a little bit too late, and Jesus Juice is going to be able to secure his own Rid buff.
Yeah, it's definitely a very minor sort of thing, but I think at this point you take what you can, and even though it was a bit scary there, it's still at the end of the day Jesus Juice claiming what he believes is his, and feel good there. But all the while, Vino just back up to this top lane.
It sounds like you don't believe that Rid buff was his.
I honestly not at first. It really felt with Sermus moving around towards like coming in through the river top side. Well, top half of the bottom jungle entrance out around Pixel Brush. You know, sometimes describing locations on a League of Legends map not exactly the easiest thing to do verbally, but it definitely looked like there was a bit of overextension from the side of literal monkeys, and especially with this gold advantage on the side. It's not just done yet. Actually, I want it, on one hand, it's like I want to throw it over to you, just drop it, because it looks like we're gonna have a fight, but nothing really majorly committed here, having 10 second R now.
Yeah, and now they're looking for Jesus Juice. Don't quite land it, but the kickback onto Pink Penguin is going to be enough to secure the kill there. This Noodle and Jesus Juice need to be careful. It's only the support pick, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah, definitely the case, and that was kind of what I was describing. Opposite sides of the map, but what I was thinking happened last time is that this jungle for the most part isn't available to literal monkeys. Actually, Kilgar now.
Berry Donut has no mana here, so unless you turn around and get that W off, you're just going to be eating poke the entire way. This is a long lane. Outer turret's already down here with the exhaust. Oh, just barely enough mana here. Will it be enough? Kilgar gonna abandon the chase, and rightly so, as Jesus Juice comes out of base and looks to cover Berry Donut.
Yeah, I mean, but that still drags all the attention for one member of the side of Going Ghosts, which gives yet another Rift Herald going over to the side of Literal Monkeys. And this top lane, tier 2, surely about to go down now, as they know there's nobody in this top side of the map. Vino is just free to do whatever he wants, and it'll be all 3 outer turrets taken by the side of Going Ghosts. This Rift Herald. The floodgate, the proverbial floodgate from earlier has now been knocked down, but now not only that, we've added a giant void monster as well into the mix that's coming through to destroy the rest of the dam, and just one good fight may very quickly, may potentially end this game, really.
And speaking of void monsters here, casted another void monster, but somebody who survived the void himself is trying to survive this. Talia here is actually winning out the trade. He's got enough mana, and Kilgar not respecting here, trying to get out. There's no flash, and the Talia goes down in the 1v1. Berry Donut, only level 11, but looking like he's coming online.
Yeah, and one thing I did like there from Berry Donut was the patience to wait out the seismic shove from Kilgar. Just waited for that to be used, and as soon as that was no longer available, he knew that he had he'd full reign of that lane and was going to win that fight with no question whatsoever. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, just trying to contest this again, and Mini going to be able to take this. Doesn't even have to burn the smite here. Dragon coming up in 30 seconds, so Going Ghost wants to hold on to that here, and I feel like we can go back a little bit, Isaac, to the point where you're saying that his rip buff. Actually, hold up, never mind. Pink Penguin does the Monsoon. Not quite in time. Damage goes down. Can he get out? Maybe. Yes, just barely. Bullet time. Not able to finish him off. And now Berry Donut kind of looking for something on the back end here. Gets burst down instead. Dragon's Rage. Make sure he can't get out to safety. And now Herald gets dropped. Now tier 2 mid lane turret about to get dropped, as well as Dragon about to be picked up. Bot side. Here getting caught out far from Mega, just went Mini, and well, Jesus Juice should have enough damage to clean this up, unless Mini gets here. They find the kill, and now this Noodle on his own here, or you've got some damage but not enough. Vino about to go Mega as well here. Mini just keeps chasing on. Mid lane, we've got action everywhere right now as this Noodle goes down. So did Pink Penguin just respawn when mid died, and then lose the inhib turret, lose the inhib. Going Ghost out of nowhere in the last 1 minute has completely accelerated the pace of the game. Berry Donut looking for the over chase here, and he has to go limping back right to Fountain.
Oh my, I mean, it always feels good when you say something will happen and you call it, and that exact thing happens, and all over the map once more. That's, as you said, mid lane tier 2, and actually I do like the patience from Going Ghost to not take the inhibitor this early on, so it does deny that that would come through from those super minions, especially since there's on the map. It would slightly favor literal monkeys, at least what they can get out of this game state so far. Not much they can really claim for themselves, but sitting 12k gold down, any bit helps, and it's really good from the side of Going Ghost to be aware of that. They shouldn't give that to them.
Yeah, and that's something that gets talked a lot about by coaches and stuff, about when you should be taking inhibitors. Some would say don't take it pre-19, pre-20 there, because if you do take it, you've got these supers pushing out for no real pressure or objective here. Baron doesn't actually spawn till that 20-minute mark, but I do want to highlight that little known fact, minions have levels too, and it's actually based on your team's levels. So if a team is ahead, their minions will auto push anyways. It's a lot slower. So Going Ghost can't just say, hey, we didn't take the inhibitor, we're fine, our waves won't push. They will, and they will stack up as well. So Little Monkeys will be able to get it. It's just a lot slower, and they do have to be careful about stepping out.
I mean, they're talking about being careful about stepping up. I would have to imagine that every portion of the jungle is just completely dark. They don't have any sort of information to work with. They are the GPS has clearly lost connection there, and they have to navigate by the stars through this jungle. All the while will be tier top lane tier 2 getting taken for without really any sort of contest from the side of Literal Monkeys, and well, understandably so. I don't believe that really they could have done anything.
No, it's just this Noodle under that turret, right? And what's this Noodle gonna do? Vino is just standing there. I'm not sure if he disconnected or if he's waiting for something.
Okay. Yeah. I was about to say I didn't see the disconnect. No, and we haven't paused yet. So that's disconnecting from a game is a pausable situation that you're allowed to pick up. But as Baron spawns up without any sort of vision, it's getting started up by Go and Goes. I don't believe really much that Little Monkeys can do to stop this.
Nope, they dropped the blue trinket right there, so they know it's being done. Jesus Juice is looking for it, but Sermus trying to just deny entry right now. 3k on the Baron as TP is coming down. Weaver's Wall to disconnect everybody else. Jesus Juice, he's in there. Can he get it? The kick right back out. He flashes over, doesn't quite secure it here, but might be able to find Sermus. Do they have enough burst damage? Yes, just barely, but it's a 1-for-1 trade. Baron still in favor, and now this Noodle in a bit of trouble here. Vino really far up on his own, and 1-for-1 Baron going in favor of Go and Ghost.
Yeah, I was really smart play from Kilgar, and as well as many using the kick to keep the enemy jungler out of the Baron pit. So even though what a kill was traded there, in terms of just execution from the side of Going Ghost, I really like it. Now all the while, now that Baron has been claimed, that inhibitor, yeah, it's gone. It's say goodbye. 5 minutes later, we might get to see it again. Finally gets gone. For a second there, I feel like I might have been wrong, but
the Baron Siege cannon was there. They were going to be able to finish it. Berry Donut is now back in base as well, has recalled, so Go and Ghost has to be careful. They are at a numbers disadvantage right now, and they haven't shopped since they actually picked up the Baron, so that 14 or 13k gold difference we're seeing right now is the actual effective gold difference. It's just what's in their pocket hasn't been spent.
Well, now it has, but yes, as you were saying, and it was definitely, I would say, the right decision for them to move away and claim the inhibitor and just what they can off the map after taking that Baron, and really no information was made available to Literal Monkeys. But for a second it looked like they might have overstayed their welcome, that they may have just thrown not necessarily thrown away a lead, because even if they did give away 2 to 3 kills there, that's such a gold advantage. Very Donut though.
He's getting kind of collapsed on here, and where's he gonna go? Mini's on the other side here. He's still got a couple of dashes. He's trying to break ankles. The flash, not quite enough. Great Dragon's Rage into Resonating Strike, or pardon me, into the Q there to be able to follow up. Nowhere for Cassidy to go, and well, with the big scaler off the table here, Go and Ghost, what you gonna do? You still have Baron buff for a little bit more time, and you've got a wave that you're walking in.
Yeah, and this siege is really just going to continue, and with down a member, we'll have to see what they are able to do. I just don't really know if Literal Monkeys really can do anything. Force God's Go will be used.
It does knock up 3 members here, but there's no follow-up available. So really, it's just done for the ride here. Welcome to the Bouncy Castle. It's free admission for today and today only. And with that, Go and Ghost. Okay, thank you for the free ride. Thank you for the free inhib. We're going to fall back and pick ourselves up a Cloud Soul here, which, again, did get buffed. Double the movement speed and the slow resist it used to give here. So as if Go and Ghost wasn't zooming fast enough, well, turns out they really don't need Ghost when they're moving that quickly. And now Jesus Juice should be fine, should be able to get out. Wait, actually, maybe not. The actual movement speed from Kilgar was managing to catch up to that game.
Yeah, the Cloud map going to be helping out a little bit there with those speed up zones. But yeah, as you're saying, I know a lot of people like to joke, haha, Cloud Drake. Even before the buffs, I I was a believer that Cloud Jake was a lot stronger than people would give it credit for. Obviously, not obviously priority or anything, but I know a lot of people completely wrote it off as haha Cloud Soul does nothing and haha Cloud Map does nothing. But and especially now, as those buffs have come through Vino,
he went over the wall himself. He can go mega, but he's getting knocked up. The bullet time going to dissuade the engagement. Vino is still behind enemy lines here. Oh, the Stranglethorns come through. It doesn't quite lock down Donut there, and Donut's going to look for the re-engage. Surmus barely alive, goes Golden to buy a couple more seconds, but everybody on the side of Going Ghost is so low here. They're forced out. It's a 1-for-0 trade in favor of Literal Monkeys, and at death's door, they fend off just barely Going Ghost.
Yeah, I know, I get the idea from Vino there to try to find the engage. You know, you get that fight there, you just win, right? Like the wave's already pushing into the top side. The game's over. You take your series, and so have a nice night. I do respect the idea, but Vino, if I saw correctly, didn't land the Gnar. Or the ultimate there. It's been weird since like everything's called Gnar on Gnar. But he says Gnar, his abilities are named Gnar, he's named Gnar. But no, yeah, he didn't land that multi-man stun there. So it definitely a misexecution from the side of going Ghosts, and specifically, I don't know, am I going to say specifically Vino there? At least in that last, in that last fight, at the very least, Vino not having his best build.
Well, he's going to try and redeem himself now as he's running down Buried Donut, and once again, Donut, no matter. We've seen this multiple times now. You're pushed up, even with that Seraph's Embrace here. The backup is here, and can Vino finish this in time? No shot. Buried Donut gets out alive. There's enough bodies to do this, and the Monsoon from Penguin buys time. Where's the rest of Going Ghost? Well, they're not there to reinforce the bot side because they are looking to end the game. They get themselves the top side inhibitor turret and inhibitor as well. That is all inhibs down right now. Mid actually just respawns barely in time, so we will not see double supers in every lane.
Yeah, kind of hilarious on the timing there. You say all inhibitors down, and right as the mid laner respawns. Bit silly. We do. Yeah, it happens. Not only does the caster curse affect players, it also affects objectives. So fun little known fact there. And you get a live demonstration of that, but all the while, no vision at all for the side of it. Just another player getting taken by Going Ghosts for just a few seconds of their time.
Yeah, and for Literal Monkeys, great you fended off a couple of fights. Your skilling is looking like it's starting to kick in. Buried Donut a level away from that faded 16. This Noodle's starting to give Masterworks, but they never stepped up the base to get vision down. And once again, Going Ghost coming in with burned up minions here, potentially burned up supers if they go through the side lanes here, as they're looking to once again try and end. This is what, the third attempt here, Isaac?
I'd say if you count this one as that third, that first one from quite a while back didn't seem quite as like a full-on attempt to end like that last fight was with Vino popping over the wall there, but definitely I think they can be a lot more patient now as you have those, as you say, those double supers that are going to be spawning and the Merit buff. I don't believe there's enough damage and wave clear from the side of Literal Monkeys to really do anything about this, and they'll probably, I'm expected to just hit the death.
Okay, Vino into the back. Bullet time comes across perfectly there, and they get so much damage down. Only Veja still standing with Buried Donut there, and Buried Donut goes golden. They're so low. Vino's almost dead. Can they get the resets? No, they can't. Not because they didn't have the damage, but because the Nexus went down here. And Going Ghost, they end the series. They win it 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, they played that about the well, first off, forget the death by 1,000 cuts that I was expecting. Vino redeems himself that time around, saying, I actually do know how this Gnar works, and does land, I believe it was 4 stuns there onto the Nexus. And I mean, yeah, just other than a few hiccups from the side of Going Ghosts, nothing really too major. And we were saying this since the draft, was that Literal Monkeys it's good that they have a lot of scaling, but how do they bridge the gap from the early game to then scale? And they just couldn't find it in this game. So Going Ghost allowed to just free reign of the whole entire map and really just clinical from the side of Going Ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah, and for Little Monkeys, we're seeing that the scaling was starting to kick in. Like we said, the Kassadin almost level 16, about to really hit that critical point. This Noodle's starting to give masterwork items across multiple members on the team. We've seen Silver Scaling be an absolute beast as well. 2 items completed here. They just needed a bit more time, and they did not have that. Going Ghost just way too clean at kind of closing that out. Now, I do want to point out, when I had spoken to Going Ghost before, specifically to Kilgar mentioned that back in Season 6, they actually failed to make playoffs because of Literal Monkeys, who just out of nowhere in the last couple of weeks came in, and had a resurgence to beat them out. In Season 7 as well, they lost to Literal Monkeys Fire under the name of Business Time at that point for Going Ghost here. And that was when they had a lot of roster issues, a lot of changing, moving parts that caught them unexpected. I mentioned that Kilgar was playing support at the time, had to swap back and every had to move. And so in this week 1 here, I know it's only the first week, Isaac, but I'm sure for Going Ghost, it's got to feel so good for them to finally get the win back. Yeah, it's a 2-1, but that's still a win.
Oh, no, it absolutely is. It gets the Literal Monkeys off their back. But God damn it, I hate myself for that. It sounded a lot better in my head, but then I was like, God, that was so bad.
Embrace it, Isaac. It's the Castaway. Just embrace it.
It is the way. No, I absolutely. But no, it definitely feels good to finally get a just any sort of win, so, whether it be over a specific team or if you're just in a slump. That the euphoria that comes from like finally doing something that you struggled to do, and even outside of like just competitive like games in general, and like not limited to video games, just like any sort of competitive environment. I'd say most of my competitive experience comes from actually playing soccer, but I do totally get the feel. Sometimes there's that one team that you go up against multiple times, and for whatever reason, you just don't do anything, but then you find that one win, and it's just the relief that says, we freaking did it, man. And I know the feeling all too well. It's great. It's a great feeling, but it also comes with all the losses beforehand as well that don't feel so great. But the high only feels high when it's followed by disappointment in and out. And so it's really good from Going Ghost to finally get the Literal Monkeys off their back.
Isaac, you're taking for a trip here. It's like you keep.
Okay. Watch you. We're going all over the place, right? We get there when we get there.
Fair enough. And you know what? For Going Ghost, like you said, it sucks that they've lost before this, but hey, we're just starting the season. This is week 1, everybody, of the Gold Division here, season 8. So right now they're already getting that payoff, and I want to see them ride that high. And for Literal Monkeys, just still really strong showing from them here. Game 2 really, really close as well here. It could have swung back at any moment there. So huge props to them. The Literal Monkey organization always delivers. So I expect to see them continue to be a strong contender in the league. It's only week 1. They've got time to change. Now, before we end the stream here, Isaac, I'm going to give a quick update on some of the games. I believe there's still one series still going. Yeah. This was the second last one, and there's one series that rescheduled. So we had House of Ronin with a 2-0 victory here. Conduit Goblins with a 2-0. SON Kappa with a 2-0 here. TD Solar with a 2-0. Both CB teams, Solar and Zed, also both Zed and Rangers 2-0. Pardon my inability to read, apparently. And really, CN Crawdaddies? Come on. Okay. Also managed to 2-0 their way. So this is one of the only 3-game series that we got tonight. So, hey, win for the stream. You got to see some close games. And with that here, going to wrap up. Thank you, Isaac, for joining me tonight here. And I'd like to give a huge shout out to our production team behind us as well, Metro and Ejinx. They're the ones bringing you all the great video. Without them, we could literally not run the stream. Thank you all for tuning in as well. And with that, we're done for today. Tune in tomorrow for the IBS series as well. We've got games running from Monday through Thursday here on the Blue Otter League. So without further ado, thank you for coming and have a good night.